gonna get in line and do right. All right, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Welcome everybody. Welcome to our program. I had to apologize to everybody. I overslept. Sorry. Oh man. All right. So our program tonight, we're talking about the militant nature of the black man. Does he have a militant nature? What is it? How do we use it? What will it be used for? I want to welcome Sister Cassie and Brother Isaiah. Got some Doc a message. He should be here shortly. But when we think about the militant nature of the black man, start with you, Sister Cassie. What comes to your mind? What does that look like?
Wow. You know what? I was just looking that up and I thought about Dr. Patrice Lumumba, Malcolm X, my boy Khalid Muhammad. That to me is the militant nature, the nature we should have today, that nature that we don't see now. I don't know. I think they kind of numbed us down. And I think it started in their schools. You know how when our children, used to fight, we would be fine. Wouldn't get suspended or anything. But now you fight, everybody go, and it's for a reason. And then they won't punish them as harsh as they punish us. And that's for anything that we do. Just like we seen that black what was that the riverboat thing, and they brought the guy that got attacked, they brought him up on charges. So that to me is telling everybody, if you think about talking, if you think about defending yourself, you're going down. So that right there is what they're doing to calm down black men's militant nature right today. Now we've seen that in the 60s, but we don't see it today. If we do, show them. Well, I can see one, but other than that one, I don't really see it.
Exactly. Brother Isaiah, what say you?
What's up, everybody? You got it. There's a lot of things that, I was thinking about it, and it just really depends on how you define militant, you know what I mean? But as a father, the head of the family, I'm the head, right? But my wife is the body. I can't do nothing without the body. That's just how I go. But, a militant person is a person of justice, righteousness, truth, honor, integrity, all of the virtues, I guess, and a fighter that's willing to fight to the very end and never compromise your position. But with that being said, you also have to realize too, depending on what area that you are fighting in, if you're a political juggernaut, then you're going to find yourself in bed with a lot of people that you want to be in bed with. And I mean, not in a sexual way, but figuratively speaking, in order to get what you want. Because, these rat-tail growing motherfuckers are still here. Where they ain't going nowhere just yet that we know about. And we got to be vigilant. We got to study their moves and how they do. And we basically know what that is. And the idea of voting them out of business, voting them out of politics is the way to go. I can't see, I got into a lot of discussions with people about that. And, they're in agreement that this world is upside down, inside out. And we're looking at justice to be injustice and injustice to be justice. And people got to go. White folks don't have the moral compass to get what need to be done fairly and squarely because they've been in power for 150 years or so about. And it got to be good to them that they feel they can do whatever they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it. And nobody can't say anything. Well, those rules, I'm white and I say so, are dead and gone, baby. Just like it was in Egypt, just like it was in Greece. Now, their time is over, and it's just a matter of time before people of color or brown-skinned people realize what's going on and take over those positions in power, whether they be the mayor's office, whether it be the governor's office, whether it be the presidential, in every section there is. So as soon as we get that clue, and it don't take much, as soon as we get that clue, Brother Muhammad said to Cassie, it's over. You're going to see policy laws and regulations that are being put into place, not only justly and fairly, but since we are the generation that's going to make that change, we're going to get the greater benefit of the pie. And, our reparations will be in our hands, not in the hands of somebody that we hoping will be open to that kind of discussion, because there is no discussion. We already know what we are doing on. So I throw it back to you.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Brother Isaiah. I want to welcome MDP to the program, Deacon of Reality to the program, Earth Angel 1105 Remix to the program. I want to welcome Twin Pyramid to the program. I want to welcome Cicely Milano to the program. Peace and blessings, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Our topic that we're talking about today is the militant nature of the Black man. I want to go and just share a little what Google says about the militant nature, their definition of it, and let's see if it really fits, as Black men. It says militant can mean vigorously active and aggressive, especially in support of a cause, as in militant reformers. The American Heritage Dictionary of English Language defines militant as having a combative character, aggressive, especially in the service of a cause. Now that's their definition of militant. Do y'all agree? Sister Cassie?
Absolutely not. You have to understand whose definition it is. Those are people that don't want to see Black men rise. Those are the same folk that murdered, the Black Panther or the leader. What was Fred Hampton, Malcolm? These are the leaders that we have to be worried about, that have done damage to Black men, the ones that they see as the next Christ. You know what I'm saying? Didn't FBI leader, what was that name? Hoover, say what about the Black man? He was going to stop the next Black, what did he call him? Okay.
Black Messiah.
Exactly. Okay. So to them, when a Black man is wanting to do anything for their own, like in Africa, Dr. Patrice Lumumba, he was murdered for wanting change, for wanting to run his own country, for wanting to just be Black, to get the colonizers out. That dude was murdered just because he wanted to be free of his oppression. So these are the people that's telling you that this is their definition of militant. My definition of militant is Black men that want to be Black, that want a Black family, that want a Black country, that want to do for Black people. But anytime you see that's not, and also the ones that's not taking no crap from the white folk, that's not working for white supremacy, they'll call them militant because they're not their token niggas. They're not the ones that's going to do everything they want you to do. Yes. So, yeah, these are the people that's going to call you militant because they don't want you to fight for yourself. They don't want you to stand for yourself. They want you to keep allowing them to them to keep their knees on your neck, to keep voting for nothing. That's what. Okay, so let's read what the KKK, do they have them down as a militant group? No. You understand what I'm saying? So no, we're not listening to people that don't like you, to help perpetual hatred for you anyway. We don't give a dang on what they think about us, okay? Because I can say a whole lot about the Klan that they don't have in the top number one spot that should be on the most dangerous list, okay? Let's put the judges and the police officers up there too, because they've taken off those sheets and putting on those robes, okay? So let's be real about it. Do they call them militant? No, they don't. They say police is they're to protect and serve. Well, who are they protecting? They're not protecting Black folk, because anytime they come in our neighborhood, you die. So no, I don't. I don't agree with that militant definition at all.
Mm.
And I rest
All
my.
right. All right. Thank you, Sister Cassie. And welcome Doc to the program. Peace and blessings, Doc. Sorry I overslept again. We rushed on. I jumped up. I'm like, oh shit, it's 4:30.
Look
Oh
here,
man. Mm,
like
mm,
Nas said, I never sleep because sleep is the cousin of death. Brothers, getting
mm.
old, man. You taking these naps. Yeah, man. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. I sent you an email to add. I'm back in Texas now, so
Okay.
as to if it was Eastern Standard Time or Central Standard Time. Remember, we keep
Right.
flipping that right there. So I'm back in Central now. So
Okay.
just glad to be here. And what's up to everybody?
Good. Good.
Hey
All
Doc, how
right.
you doing?
I'm good. I'm
And,
good. How
and
about you?
and so, Doc, again, we're talking about militant by nature is the black man.
Yep.
We talked about our own understanding of whether black men are militant by nature, yes or no. We're going over a definition that Google gave us about militant. And then also Brother Isaiah gave what I would like to call a good description of being militant as well. And we'll ask Brother Isaiah to repeat that so that you can hear that. But for what Google says that militant can mean vigorously active and aggressive, especially in support of a cause, as in militant reformers. The American Heritage Dictionary of English Language defines militant as having a combative character, aggressive, especially in the service of a cause.
Mm.
That's what they define militant as. Brother Isaiah, can you redefine what you described the militant to be so Doc can get a chance to hear what you're saying?
I'm going to try to remember what the hell I just said. As you know, I ain't gonna get it all right, but I get the summation of it. I guess that's the word, summation. But to me, for as being a father, is a leader of the family, and being a leader of the family, you have to have certain um, quality, integrity, character, frugality, responsibility. All of the virtue that you can ever really think about. And being able to surmise a given situation in any given moment, in what direction that it can be beneficial to you as a person, as a unit in terms of a family, community, and what have you. And when that spills over from family into the community, now you're talking about politics, because now you have to, use the wherewithal and the wisdom to manipulate. And manipulating people is not a bad thing. You get manipulated every day to buy this, to buy that, to do this, to do that. So it really depends on how you want to manipulate. And as a true Machiavellian, and I'm always studying, you have to understand the body politics and how that works and how that plays out when it comes to politics. And you don't, you can find yourself in bed with a lot of people that you don't want to be in bed with, but that's the way it goes. So when that spills over into the political realm or the economic realm, you are dealing with different dynamics that are in play. And so when those dynamics are in play, you can either make a mistake if you're not following the Machiavellian. I follow the Machiavellian rules like to a T. I don't play. So because when you violate those laws, you pay a price, right? So with all that being said, to me, being militant is not necessarily, killing somebody. If that is needed, then so shall it be. There's nothing wrong with killing. Just like when Israel are talking about they can go into the Palestinian home and take it over and tell them to get out, and you got the police and the government helping you. Dude, man, you ain't coming up in my house. Cause matter of fact, you might want to check out. It's called OME.TV. I was in there, and I was talking to two Israelis, and they're in total agreement that Netanyahu, or however you want to say it, It's not a Jew. It's not Semitic. It has no claim to the land. And I even told him that our Moorish ancestor, there was one white guy and one, I'm going to assume he's Ethiopian because Ethiopian means black anyway, but, or Falasha, whatever he was, dark-skinned Jew. And I was telling him, look, how in the world can you allow somebody or you as a people fall under the guise of Netanyahu bullshit? You know it's bullshit. You know he has no claim to it. And Trump doing whatever he did as far as the Abraham Accord, he had no position in it. So as a people, we have to be vigilant and standing up for what is right, just, and true. And in the end, even if you might be the only one standing, stating what is true, speaking truth to power, is all of what a militant is. And then that is, well, it's a lot of other things. But the overall gist of it all, you must, as a man, as a father, as a citizen of the world, stand up for the right, just, and true. Because if you don't, you're going to get molded over. You're going to get, punked out. You're going to get whatever coming to you if you don't speak up. And I was telling these guys, and they were in total agreement that they're dying for nothing. They didn't admit that they were losing the war, but I let them know, y'all getting your ass whooped. Yeah, by some homemade, I don't want to say homemade, that's a total disrespect to Hamas. But these are people who are serious. And when you got your motherfucking back to the wall and you got no other fucking place to go but up, there is nothing more precious, nothing more determined than a motherfucker who hit rock bottom. I'd rather associate with a people who have been and have gone to the bottom. I know all they got to do is look up and keep on moving, because they're going to get it and they're going to make it. They're going to make some kind of way out of no way. And that's what a true militant is. And I'll throw it back at you.
Thank you, Brother Isaiah. So, Doc, what say you about the militant nature of the black man? Would you say that that's part of the nature, that is the nature, or that's all from the nature? What say you?
I would like to say that that militancy, as they're defining it, I really like the first definition that you used. Someone who is in many ways agitating, taking a stand for a particular cause. I would like to say that black men, that's in our nature. But I've seen too many brothers that it appears that silliness is in their nature. But to be honest with you about the idea and even the concept of militancy, one of my pet peeves right now, and I'm just coming off a semester of teaching a class on Malcolm X. And when I ask my students, about Malcolm, he was a militant. He was a militant, and they're not defining it, but at the same time, they're aligning him and acting as if the staunch righteous position that, like Paul Robeson said, "Here I stand," is somehow a negative, and also not the most American of all positions. Militancy, as it was defined in that first definition, it characterizes George Washington. It characterizes Thomas Jefferson. All of the British colonists had to be militants in regards to defending the colony against the indigenous population that was here. You look at the Vietnam War, it's militancy that the U.S. military is exhibiting. World War I, World War II, the exact same. I don't look at the idea of militancy being a bad thing, but I don't see that it is the natural innate stage of black men after they've been socialized in America. I believe that we may come in here with a militant nature, but after dealing with American capitalism and getting a taste for material goods, I believe that the majority of black men sort of curtail their pursuit of freedom, justice, and replace it with consumerism and things. And I yield, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Doc. So I want to ask. I want to explore what the reasoning you just gave, because prior to coming to America, we had the militant nature. Then getting here and being under capitalism and white supremacy, the militant nature has been exercised out of the black man. That's what you're saying, right, Doc?
Well, no. What I'm actually saying is quite simply that just as members of the Black Panther Party, members of the later iteration of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee picked up this Black Power politics position, they were what we refer to as Black Powerites. Um, I see a lot of Black folk who have become awash in this idea of Americanism. And they're the only ones who are being militant for America as a concept. Whereas you see all other groups, although they may voice and speak about America, they're actually being very militant about their identity politics. Okay. The Jews are supporting the Jews, the Irish are supporting the Irish. There's a brilliant quote in, if you give me a little time, I'm pulling up my external hard drive, and I know exactly where it is. But identity politics is what most Americans are in every way militant about. It's just that Black folks seem to drop the ball in regards to that, and that's not surprising because Black folk have the single greatest disease that one would ever imagine, and that disease is actually hatred of themselves, hatred of Blackness, and it causes them to divest from uplifting the Black race. And when I find this quote, I'll read it to you.
Okay. All right. Excellent. And I want to welcome Forecast to the program. Peace and blessings, Brother Forecast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As Doc is looking for the piece that he's talking about, they have put together being a Black militant with Pan-Africanism, Black nationalism. I want to share and read this to everybody. Oops. Okay, here it says, what does it mean to be a militant Black? Black militant was a label set up to mean racially extremist, creating an aura of danger, threat, and even terrorism. For Black political dissents, to be signaled out as Black militant was to suggest that someone was dangerously crazy. And they're calling a militant African American group was founded in 1966. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was the era's most influential Black power organization. So again, as we do what we do, the enemy always defines it and labels it as they see it to be fit. Doc, just let me know when you got it.
Will do.
Okay. So, they will take what we do and give a label to it and then say, this is what you are. This fits this definition of you. They've defined it. They've researched it and said, okay, now you wear it. Now, I know that there was a time where they didn't want any Black person in America to have been associated with Islam. If you was a Muslim, you wasn't welcome in America because of the uprisings that the many battles they had to fight with Blacks who were Muslims. They didn't want to have to fight that fight here on American soil. Sister Cassie, what are some of the things that you think that have watered down the militant nature of the Black man, that America's position was, we don't want them here. If Islam has changed any part of their lives, we don't want them. What has happened?
I think for one, education had a lot to do with that, because once you get our babies and you get the infants, the babies' minds, you can change them to believe anything. And I think now everything about a Black man is negative. So I heard Doc say that they called George Washington militant. What about him? And nobody Black. I didn't hear anybody Black on that list that they called militant. So what about George Washington was militant? That's my question. I just want to understand that. Why was it? Because he was doing what to Black people? You know, it had to be somebody negative that was doing something negative to Black people. So my thing is mostly the education and punishing our behavior when we stood up for each other. That's what I think the biggest problem is. And it started in those schools. It started in the elementary schools when your child would hit somebody back that was bothering them, right? So then they begin to educate. You know, that was the best thing we could have done for them, you know, is to allow them to get to our baby's mind. So I think for me, I think the education was the worst ever. And that's where it all started. And that's why we're looking at what we look at today. I talked to my granddaughter, when her and I were talking. She's got this little friend, right? And she's not Black. And I keep it, you know, I'm explaining to her and she don't get it. And I understand. And then what I'm saying to her is like, but grandma, you know, she's nice. And I'm like, you know, so, you know, we had that whole conversation. But I said, well, you have to learn for yourself. And she will, you know, and that's most Black people now. Anytime we hear a Black person talking like Khalid Muhammad and Malcolm X now, oh my God, we got to stay away from them. You know, and that's what Black folk do on purpose. You can't talk the way they talk nowadays because you hate everybody. And why is it? And they brainwashed us to believe that when you talk in Black talk, when you love Black folk, then you hate everybody else. And that's not true. I don't hate anybody. I'm Black first, period. And they're not used to that. They're used to Black folk being everybody first, you know? So that's the problem right there. That's the issue right there. And then when you do hear somebody talk Black first, oh my God, she must hate everybody. She must hate white folk. No, I just love me. And it's time for Black people to start talking, you know, and standing up for Black folk and talking Black and stop working for white supremacy against your own. That's the biggest thing we see right now with Black leaders. We can't trust any of them because none of them do anything for their own. They do everything for the immigrants. And the immigrants do for the immigrants. So they kind of double different, right? They got people on both sides, Black folk, you know, and the immigrants. Who Black folk got? Nobody. George, who we got? I rest my mic.
All right. Thanks, Sister Cassie. Go ahead, Doc. You got the quote?
Yeah, and this supports directly what Sister Cassie was just illuminating. And it is quite simply that, you know, when I talked about George Washington, I meant that the British would call George Washington a militant because he's working against their best interest. Dominant groups go ahead, especially amongst Black folk. They label us as militants because we're fighting for freedom, for some semblance of justice. And so this quote right here is talking about how the European immigrants, these new immigrants, these so-called white folk, join together and how they act. And so here it is. Can find it. Here it is. Let me know if you can see that.
Okay.
Are you able to see it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It goes, the concept of Black power rests on a fundamental premise. Before a group can enter the open society, it must first close ranks. By this, we mean group solidarity is necessary before a group can operate effectively from a bargaining position of strength in a pluralistic society. Traditionally, each new ethnic group in this society has found the route to social and political viability through the organization of its own institutions, with which to represent its needs within the larger society. The American melting pot has not melted. Italians vote for Rubino over O'Brien. Irish for Murphy over Goldberg, etc. And that's Charles Hamilton and Kwame Ture, Black Power, their book Black Power. But it's one of those where each one of those groups, if you're going to be fair and you're going to apply consistency, would have to be called a group of militants because they're actively fighting for their own group's identity in politics. Black folk are just the only ones that are silly enough to respond when people call us militant. Of course, we're militant. Okay. We learn from you that the way that you're able to achieve anything is through agitation, through force. The Frederick Douglass quote still holds sway. You know, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will. So you would hope that Black men would be quote unquote militant. You hope that we would have a new crop of Assata Shakurs rising up, Black women being staunch and defiant for the Black nation as well. So I yield with that, brother.
All right. Thank you, Doc. Thank you. All right. Sister Cassie, did you want to make a comment to what Doc just said?
No, go ahead. You did good.
Excellent. Brother Isaiah?
I would like to say 100% of what he's talking about. I mean, Hoover said it best. The most threatening element in America is Black unity. And we've had that. We still have it, but I can remember, let me play this out. I can remember reading and about the South African, our brothers in South Africa, and the community in which they live. They lived better than white folk when they came in, you know what I mean? But due to the nature of the beast and destroying, they rebuild, destroy, they rebuild, destroy. They just said, fuck it, you know, let it be what it's gonna be. And you know, see a lot of Black folks living in tenements, if I can say that, or in homes with tin roofs and poor sewage system. But that wasn't always the case. You know what I mean? So I say that to say that within America, we had our Black Wall Street. Black folk were better off educationally, politically, and economically, spiritually. We weren't caught up in the heavens to be so heavenly bound that we were of no earthly good. We understood where God was and still is within you. The kingdom of God is in you, not outside of you. So from what I've been able to read and from what I've been able to surmise, the preachers of old always preached the betterment of the community, education. Ida B. Wells said, I can't remember the exact quote, but it goes something like this. Let the African American depend upon no one. Let him continue to put money in his purse. For when he has plenty of money, parties and races will come to you. Our ancestors who are no longer here understood that. Money talks, fucking bullshit walks. Money talks, bullshit walks. Money talks, bullshit walks. We had access to Wall Street. It wasn't like, I mean, literally New York, Wall Street, where I can't remember the name of the Black guy who was like the Attila the Hun of Wall Street back in the day. You know what I mean? But due to the nature of this beast, who took it upon himself, herself, themselves, to take it upon us or to put upon us the stringent laws, policies, and regulations that limited our growth, but allowed them to steal our resources politically through large policies and regulations, and economically through the destruction of our economic base. That decimated our ability to spiritualize that into a formidable way of looking at it. Not so much well, you know, let me add this. Do you remember the name how the song goes? Good time, good times. You know what I mean? Really, really. When I was a kid and listening, I was just singing. I was just singing. But goddamn, they were fucking us up mentally. Do you understand what I'm telling you?
Mhm.
Good time, anytime you entertain me, good time, anytime, whatever the hell. You know what I'm saying? That's a hellified mental lockdown that happened. And then when you are using the television that's telling lies, and you have to overcome that, and that's being inundated, and it's being reinforced in the schools. And you know, goddamn well, the schools in America is not built toward liberating black minds and black kids. If you remember, Brother Muhammad, there was a school with some black kids in the hallway, majority white. The white teacher was leaving or something like that, and all the white kids would come up to hug her and say, "Oh, you know, well, thank you, blah blah." She didn't give not one fuck about the black kids. She didn't, you know, she didn't care. So I'm here to tell you, fuck white folks. Fuck, they scared of you. They ain't like, you know, we below them. They know they are below us. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Take your mind off of white folks because they ain't shit. They talk shit because they know they ain't shit. They ain't shit because they know they talk shit. And they know they're not the originators of every civilization on the planet. Of every major world religion or philosophy comes from the black man. On top of that, and I'm going to close it out, I had the opportunity to look at the situation that is going on in the Middle East. The Arab nation, you quote me on that, Brother Muhammad, listen to what I'm saying. They got to the point now where these light-skinned, damn near white Arabs are hating on and spitting on and shitting on the name of Allah. And the man who created Islam, Muhammad, was a blacker than me and you. And his descendants are still alive. Now, how in the fuck do they even do that shit? And I wrote to these motherfuckers. Do you understand what I'm telling you? How do you despise the very nature of your soul, which is black? The blacker you are, the more of a pure Arab you are, motherfucker. I give no fuck when it comes to standing on what is true, and I will always roar like a motherfucking lion that I am. I care not about these motherfuckers. The white skinned Japanese, the white skinned, I don't give a fuck. Respect the black man and woman because they are your goddamn daddy. And when you don't respect it, you are damned to be cursed. Now, if you are respectful of your mother and father, the days upon the earth would not be long suffering, but it would be blessed. And this is what I've been saying all along to these motherfuckers, man. I wrote to the king, to the Queen Rania, to the head of state of the Arab nation. I have not heard nothing back. I probably wouldn't. But they know that black is it. And I've seen, I have not watched the whole movie, but I've seen enough. In the Arab movies, man, they talk about black folks like dogs and calling us animals and uncivilized. What? And that due to that Lawrence, what's the name of that? Lawrence of Arabia, where they got a white actor playing a role or a character that was totally black. Black. About as black as you can get. You know what I mean? And I can't remember, you know, I don't speak Arab, but a Banu, a tribe named Banu, these were the descendants of Muhammad. Now, how in the hell do these damn near white Arab get to the point? Because get to the point of disrespect because they were brainwashed into believing what the white folks told them when they got there. Deeply written and spoken and felt within their bones. But I know, I'm telling you, I know and I spoke with an Arab sister, and I said, "What the hell is going on? Why is there so much disrespect for Allah, who is black, and Muhammad, who is black, and you all are accepting this bullshit from these tamahoos, these rat tail growing motherfuckers, these dog tail growing motherfuckers, who have brought nothing to the table of humanity but the four D's: death, destruction, disease, and despair." Now, I had sent you something earlier, Brother Muhammad, that appeared on Twitter, on X, rather. And they talk about the biggest goddamn pedophile ring in America that is ran by white folks. Do you fucking understand what I'm telling you? White folks are the nastiest motherfuckers going, but you don't see it because they're hiding that motherfucker. They're hiding it. They're hiding how they really and truly are. They're the nastiest motherfuckers on the goddamn planet. They fuck each other in groups, pissing and shitting on themselves in a group, eating it, drinking it, vomiting it back up and having sex to that motherfucker again. I rest my fucking case.
All right, thank you, Brother Isaiah. When we think about fighting in America, Doc, you explained that when it came to Washington, George Washington, considered up to with Britain, then he was militant. Would y'all consider blacks who joined the military and fought for America? Would you consider them being militant, or would you consider them being stupid? And let's just keep it 100. What say you, Doc?
The thing is that that's for me a very difficult question to answer, because I think it truly is multi-layered. If your goal is to make it in America and to take care of yourself, and I'm kind of pushed into a situation where I think that this holds sway across the entire American century, across the entire 20th century. And it is that there was no better avenue or vehicle for promotion, for pay, for life-changing pay than for you, regardless of your race or ethnicity, to join the United States military. If you look at the situation that is going on right now, if you join the U.S. military at 18, 19, you're walking out of there. If you do 25 years at the age of 43, 44, if you're able to somehow finagle being 100% disabled, you're going to be on easy street for the rest of your life. And keep in mind, 43, 44 is still young enough for you to start another career. I know some people who've actually gone to college after leaving the military and it started very successful careers. So you have that in regards to, the pluses of joining the U.S. military. And I believe that would make you a militant for the United States of America, because you're giving your all, you're giving your life to a cause, which happens to be the nation. However, to call them sellouts or whatever, I wouldn't go that far. But I believe that it is if they're looking at it long term, it's a choice. And before you enter into anything, you should really be looking at it from a position of what is the outcome that you want. Now, if the outcome that you want is the liberation and salvation of the Black nation, the U.S. military isn't your best long-term bet. However, even under that circumstance, when you're looking for Black liberation, if you go back and you look at individuals like Geronimo Jajaga, um, he was sent to the Geronimo Pratt of the Black Panther Party. Many people know him as. He was actually sent by his community in Louisiana to go to the military to learn military science. And it's going to be the same Geronimo Jajaga who serves as the key instrument in preventing the LAPD from destroying the Los Angeles chapter of the Black Panther Party. So I see it both ways. It's based and predicated upon what is the outcome you're looking for. If your outcome is to have a better life in America, to increase your socioeconomic standing and viability, go do 25 in the military. If it is for the liberation and salvation of the Black nation, you may want to go do a couple in the military and come out with the skills and the determination and the courage that you're going to get there. So it goes both ways, but to go into that military experience, you're still going into the white man's army. You're still going into, as any other American institution, into the bastion and almost the jaws of American racism, discrimination, and prejudice. And I yield, brother.
Thank you, Doc. Sister Cassie, what say you?
Wow, you already know. I don't believe that that's a place for Black people, and I'm gonna tell you why. I believe we go in because of the lack of understanding and lack of knowledge, and we perish for the lack of understanding, okay? And I'm gonna say this, because we go into the service, we go and fight for another country's freedom, and then you come home, and then what do? They burn you, they hang you, back in the day, in your own uniform. We saw just a few months ago where a guy was in his uniform, who's in the service, and the police sprayed him in his face. Okay, what are we doing here? I don't agree with that. I don't agree sitting, and I'm gonna tell you what I told my children. You do not go to the service. You can go to college, get your degree, and either work your own business, because if you want to be financially free, to me, it's not going into the service where you're gonna find more hell in the service than you do. That's every day. That's for who wants to do that? For me. So when they was calling my daughters, I said, don't call my daughters. They're not coming. You go and get the Congress and the Senate's kids. You're not getting mine. And I meant that, because how many times have we seen back in the day where they were burning those dudes, they were hanging them in those uniforms. So why am I going to put on and be proud of a country that hates you, that will have a perpetual hatred for you? God never told us to go and fight for them. You can fight for yourself. Why don't we create our own military to help protect Black folk in America? That's my issue here. When we go and fight for somebody else, but you're not fighting for your own freedom. How much sense does that make to me? None. Why would you go and fight for them? We are still not free here. Let's fight here to become free. Okay, it's enough of us, but they got us believing it's only 13% of us. No, it's more than that. But do you think they're going to tell you that it's more of you than them? You know how many of them died from opiates and you know, the other stuff when we had to get the little lollipop thingy? You know how many of them died? A lot. So you mean to tell me all this time we've been in America, we're not growing one iota, but the Chinese and everybody else that come here have grown? So no, I don't believe in sending my children or myself to fight for a country that hate me. Why would I do that? We can form our own military, and we can defend our Blackness, and we can defend ourselves from white supremacy, from these thugs in blue. But we won't do that. So if we want to go in there and we want to fight for other folks' freedom, when you have to come back and fight for yourself, for your freedom, nobody's fighting for you. But you're going over there and fighting for somebody else's, another country's freedom. Who's fighting for you? Why don't our guys in the service form some kind of militia here to fight for Black folks' freedom? I don't understand that. So no, I don't believe that that's a good spot for us. I don't give a dang on about economics. I can form my own business and make just as much money. I'm just sorry, Doc. I can't get with that one with you. I'm sorry. I just don't believe that, you know, hey, you can have your own business and you can retire at 40. And I'll show you how. Let's do it. I'm just saying. So I rest my mic.
All right. Thanks, Sister Cassie. Brother Isaiah, what say you?
Well, now, you know, I'm going to add a little spice and and some pepper and salt. But I agree with everything that she said. But it refreshed my mind as to what our brothers in Europe did, well, not did, but experienced. And I think it was Italy or France, something like that. I don't remember well. But what happened was, let me take that back. It was in England. The servicemen, the black servicemen, were accepted everywhere. They had the right to go and do whatever they got to do, to go to a pub, to go to a, you know what I mean? There was no limit. There were no blacks over here, white over there. There wasn't none of that. I think it was in England. It was one of them, either France, Italy, or England. But anyway, uh, um, the U.S. Army got wind of what was going on, and they took it upon themselves to restrict their movement. You nigga can't come to this white pub. And to this day, not too many people know about that. You know what I mean? To this day, those people, those brothers, never got compensated for the. I think one or two got killed, but a lot of got injured. So the thing is that this racial animus that our children are showing to us, and they literally are our children. You know, we are their daddy and their mom. You know what I mean? But the idea is that ignorance and hate run deep in these people because white supremacy and white superiority is an overreaction to black oppression. Let me say that shit one more time. Because nobody ain't going to get up and wake up one day and hating you for nothing. White supremacy and white superiority is an overreaction to black oppression. What? When did we oppress them? You know goddamn well you did. All throughout North Africa and harem, we had white hoes everywhere. And selling white folks and splitting up their families. Now, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm not saying what they did to us is right. But what I'm saying is that karma's a bitch. And all of what they have done is coming back to them now and forevermore. You can't do wrong expect for right to come to you. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? And so with the Army and the Navy and Navy SEALs, whatever, Green Beret, I wouldn't put my sons I'll let them go here in the Dominican Republic, you know what I mean? As far as that goes. But as far as America goes, man, we're looking to move to Florida, at some future date. But I'm making damn sure they understand white folks, and they're I don't know if that's the right word to say. They're nom de plume. I want to sound like real fancy. As Cassie, the Cassie looking at me like, huh? But look, yeah, I mean, we got to understand these folks, man. They are mentally ill. They're not well. They're living a life of lies and deceit. They actually believe that they shit don't stink. And with all of that being said, it can come down to easily understanding that through unity, political and economic, there's nothing that cannot stop us. And once we get our taste, just not even a taste on our tongue, just a whiff of power, and we put, we get let's say we get a mayor in Miami, or we get a mayor in Mississippi, Alabama, and I'm pretty sure we do. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Seats of power, where that seat of power grows. Now, I'm just saying too, Brother Muhammad, 38% of Mississippi is black. You know what I mean? So you don't have to have an overwhelming majority of people in a state. And when you're looking at it, white folks comprise what 90% of the. I'm just throwing out numbers. I don't really know for sure, but 90% of the judgeships and 90% of political anchoring positions or whatever. I don't know how you want to put that, but the power shift is where it's at. And to be honest with you, the problem is not America, not the Constitution, it's the rat tail growing bastards and bitches. Once we get rid of them, you're going to see a great influx of black people in America because we're going to have the opportunity and the power to open up the floodgates of immigration, just like they did. You feel what I'm saying? So, with all that being said, I as far as the military-industrial complex, it's a mess. It's big, it's huge, trillions of dollars. So they're to crack that nut. There's a whole lot of politics in that. So I don't want to go too far, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's all together. You just can't see it from one angle, and there's money involved in this. And when you get into the economic aspect of the military complex, military industrial complex, that's power, man. And the great deal of our budget, American budget, our federal budget, goes toward killing. So with that, I go back at you.
All right, thank you, Brother Isaiah. Well, I'm gonna give my input on this one here as one who, previously been in the military. The military changes your whole mentality, and I think worse than school does. It not only changes your mentality, so to speak, but it also changes your nature. I can remember in basic training, and we're out there with the rifles, and we're chanting, what makes the grass grow? Blood, blood, blood. What must you do? Kill, kill, kill. And you're getting this indoctrination over and over and over and over again. This is what you're getting in your mind. When you're sleeping, when you're up early in the morning, and you're preparing your body to kill. They're preparing your mind to kill. They're preparing you to stop your own process of thinking. And they'll tell when you start to engage with them over something that don't make sense. And they'll say to you, you're not paid to think. You're paid to do. Stop thinking and start doing. Meaning, whatever you hear me say, that's what you better execute. Period, point blank. Don't think about it, because you're not the one who's paid to think. Others are paid to think. You let them do the thinking job, and you just do the job that they told you to do. And this is a dangerous, very dangerous type of mindset to have. Now, when I went in the military, I was 19 years old. My mind then was still forming. Then you're introduced to all of these weapons of destruction, where you go from your handgun to your long gun, to the 50 cal, to even guns that you sit around and you sit there and you just, and we were shooting at school buses, and they had tracers on the end of the bullets so that you see the rapid rate of fire, and you see the school bus, you just tearing it up. You see this, and then there's a swell of emotions of gratification because you're destroying something. Then they put you in a live fire night maneuver where you have to use your combat techniques, where you got grenades going off over your head and you got bullets going off. I mean, it's a real, they simulate a real war zone situation. And you got to make it from one end to the other. So you're low crawling, you're crawling under barbed wire, you're doing all of this. And you got to try to make sure that your buddies make it. It works on your mentality, your mind. And you're not the same when you come out. You're just not. You're not the same. And this is something that has to be understood. You know, myself and even a few of my associates who are in the military, I have to take sleeping pills in order to go to sleep. Without them pills, I'm not going to sleep. And I've been on this track for years now. For years. Taking sleeping pills just to be able to get some rest. Being in the military is a major thing that our people should not go through. It definitely changes you. It takes away a huge portion of your humanity. It takes away a huge portion of your humanity. You know, it's like I can be sitting watching a movie, and especially if it's a combat movie or whatever, and it doesn't matter if it's a child or whatever. In my mind, even though I'm seeing it's a child, but in my mind, it's saying, kill it, shoot it. It's moving, and it's going to get you. It's an automatic thing. And, you know, honestly, if I did not have the knowledge of self and I wasn't Black first, I would be a very dangerous person to anybody, really. And so to understand that level of indoctrination that goes on in the mind, once you enter that type of realm, and that's why I say it's more dangerous than, you know, going to school, because you come out that experience as a sure enough killer, without a shadow of a doubt. And you have to be very careful, because those soldiers won't just kill you, but they'll kill everybody in your damn family, and don't bat an eye. Don't bat an eye, because it becomes second nature. It becomes second nature or primary nature to them. And when we're dealing like that, I definitely tell Black people to stay away from the military. It's not our piece of cake. It's not our thing. Because you'll never be the same person that you was prior to going in. You will definitely change.
Can I say something after you're done? I was just thinking about what you were saying, and I think about it because I went to the academy. Okay, you know, that was before my knowledge. I wanted to be a state trooper. That was my love, right? I always wanted to do that until I understood, once I got into the academy, how they break you down so low and then they rebuild you up. They program, like you're saying, they reprogram you. And to me in the academy, they taught you that all people were bad. You know what I'm saying? And it's always one weapon up, and they will teach you. And in the academy, it was brainwashing. And I've talked to so many people that's gone, women that have gone to the service, and they come out and they, on all this medication, and their whole personality is changed, but they don't deprogram you after you come out. You're still programmed to kill. You're still programmed to, and literally you can, and that's what I'm saying. That's what's needed in our community. So why aren't we forming our own military to protect our community globally? Because you guys already have that knowledge and wisdom and understanding of how to do it. Just like the little young man in Burkina Faso, I'm probably saying it wrong, in Africa. He's a new leader that, he's now trying to do some things. And, you listen, America trained him. So now he's taking that training and putting it against America. So why aren't we doing it here? As far as our Black men that have gone to the service, because we know what goes on in there. You couldn't even, back in the day, you were fighting with the white folk, but you couldn't even sit down and eat with them. Why am I going to come in your army and do what? Yeah, I'm going to fight with you, but then I got to sit on the ground while you at the table with the enemy. Well, come on now. But I'm going to go in and tell my daughters, it's okay. Go in there and fight for your country. Hell to the no. You're not getting my babies. And I meant that. And I told the recruiter when they was calling, don't call here no more, because they're not coming. They're not coming. So no, I do not, and it is, because a lot of times our children, for instance, Dr. Maurice, your son probably wanted to go because that's how they grew up. You know what I'm saying? And it looks like it's passed down from generation to generation to want to fight the service, especially the ones that have been in the Army and the service, the different branches. That's what their kids end up doing because they saw daddy doing it, or they saw mom doing it. So I wish we as Black people would stop encouraging our children to go in to fight for a country. You're already traumatized, and then you go in and get traumatized because you got a lot of racism in the police department. You got a lot of racism in the military. Because I remember going in, my folder was this thick. Everybody else's folder was like this in the police academy. But it's okay because they rolled my Black behind because they already saw who I was, and they ended up not, couldn't do it because I had 8 days ago and so-called couldn't shoot. But they weren't gonna let me. They won't come out of there. They do that because I was talking a whole lot of crap when I was in the academy, not knowing Cassie be quiet. So they were gonna let me come out of there. So, but I'll rest my mic.
Definitely. Sister Cassie. Doc, you want say anything before we move on to the video?
Yeah, the big thing for me is it goes back to what is the outcome that you want. If the outcome that you want is to be rewarded by this society, meaning having done your 25 years and leave out of there with a check forever, then that's where you're out, the outcome that you want, you can achieve that. But the idea of being able to serve two masters, you're not going to be able to do that. And I know a couple brothers who have done their time in the military and are doing the very thing that you're saying, Sister Cassie, to do. They just are not, it's sort of that if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one to hear it, doesn't make a sound. They're never going to be focused. And even if if the offer was put there, they would never want to be featured on a MSNBC, a CNN, or a Fox News. But I can guarantee you that there are brothers who are doing that. And some of these brothers have done 2 to 3 years in the military. Some of them have done 25 years. And I had a recent run-in with a brother at, of all places, Walmart. And we got to talking about his, he had on a military jacket and what have you. And he was like, oh, you was in the service? I was like, man, I was in blah. And he said, blah? I said, yeah, the Black Liberation Army. He said, yeah, mine paid better, but yours is more of a worthy cause. So, you have to, in a certain way, and this is how I look at a lot of things. Those brothers are literally, brothers and sisters are literally on They're not in the pot or the skillet. They're on the fire, and their thoughts and the things that they recognize and the things that they experience are not only going to be life-changing for them, but it's going to cement for them the racial hierarchy of this nation when it really gets down to brass tacks. So I yield with that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Doc. Isaiah, did you want to say something real quickly before we go to the video?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I want to welcome Brother Willie Rivers to the program. Peace and blessings, Brother Willie. Our topic today, we're talking about the militant nature of the black man. And let's check this video out.
What do you think of the racial situation here at Camp Tension?
I'm saying that when the black guys come over here, they have a sort of an inferiority complex. Maybe they pick it up in the States. I really don't know, because sometimes I get the feeling myself, to be truthful, that you're being discriminated against. But I've only been here 11 days, and I can't really say no more than that. When I did come over, they put me in shore patrol, and I seemed to jump right into it, and although I didn't come in direct contact with it, I saw the, what you might say, the after effects of it. And we have a CO here he's very conscientious, and anytime we have problems, he have made it, I guess you might say it's an order, to come to him. He wants to know what's happening, or why is it happening, and if there's anything to do about it, honestly feel that he will, help us if we need it. But I think a lot of guys, all they want to do is just, run around and fight. They don't have anything else to do. Maybe if they send some of us out to the front line, we could see what the fighting is all about. And when we come back down here to NSA, we could take it easy and enjoy being,
There's been a lot of outside people coming over here, though, hasn't there?
Yeah, well, what it is guys, these Army guys and things from up north, they come down and they've been out, they call them grunts, they come down here and they want to raise hell. They just strictly want to raise hell, that's all. And I don't think it's too much with the guys here. It's just the guys from up north. They come down and they got their rifles and things, weapons with them, and they just want to start trouble. That's all it is. And there's a few of the guys here, they go along right with them.
Anybody here got any legitimate beefs that you've seen?
I myself don't have one yet. I really don't. The beefs they have is, hell, they're not, if they could just, I really don't know. I just can't say how they feel. I can only speak for myself, really. And the way I feel is I do a good job. And I seem to have the respect that, my rank commands. And everyone treats me nice. I haven't had any problems. The other guys, if they start trouble, they're going to find trouble. And if you leave trouble alone, they'll leave you alone.
Thank you very much, man. What do you think of the racial?
Okay, I want to stop right quick. Now, what's going on? These are the brothers that's over in Vietnam, and there was a racial incident on the base. So the first brother that you heard and spoke, I hope you took in what he was saying, because before we go and let our cool-looking brother here, very dapper looking, before we let him go, I want to know what are your thinking on the brother who just spoke? What was your feeling? What did you get from him? And if you need me to replay his part again, then I will. But if not, let's go and see, what did y'all get from the first brother that you heard spoke? Sister Cassie?
Situation here at Camp Tension.
Sound like to me he thinks like most black folk. When he said, at the last part that really caught my attention was when he said, if you leave trouble alone, what did he say? He said, if you leave trouble alone,
It'll leave you alone.
With these crackers, they're gonna always do something. Exactly. I've seen where you are by yourself, minding your own black business, and here them devils come. Here them Neanderthals come, starting trouble, saying stuff, But to me, for me, sounds like he a little. He sounds a little weak to me. That he'll run from the fight. I'm gonna just do what I need to do to maintain peace. But sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you have to vocalize. Sometimes you have to let them know what you're working with, or just have that face. And some people, they see the face, they know the face, they know the energy. They don't feel them energy. You think them spirits don't know who gonna tolerate their mess? They know, they see. They've been around us long enough to know, and they've studied us. But for him, he sounds weak. I rest my mic.
All right, thanks, Sis Cassie. Doc, what say you?
For me, I look at this brother as being fairly representative of Black folk in America. He is truly one of us in the sense that he believes that he can outgood racism. That if he's in the has the right mentality, moves in the right way, that a lot of things that have harmed our people will be able to bypass him. And as Sister Cassie puts it, that's fallacious. That's a fictitious position that you're putting yourself in, and he's going to. There'll come moments. I don't believe that Black folk just have one moment. I believe that you're going to have several moments in your life that is going to impress upon you how wrong you were. There's something to be said for the saying that, oh, this is white people, and it comes. And it comes at moments that they choose, that they determine, and that they want to happen. And you can hear, and I'll stop with this, you can hear him talking about some higher ranked person who seems to be a just man. Well, he may be, but I guarantee you that justness is never going to rise to a level on your behalf that he staunchly defies rules because they're immoral as they're being applied to you. You don't hold that importance to them. And I yield.
Excellent. Thanks, Doc. Brother Isaiah?
Look, I'm going to get in where I fit in. What I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but what I heard was a lack of understanding of his own history, that he's fallen into the trap of white wannabe supremacy, superiority, that he had to succumb to that just to get along, to go along. I might be wrong, I might be right, but I'm going to take the side that I'm right. You know what I mean? But just to give you a little slice of bread on the side, my uncle was in Vietnam, and I remember that he was talking about in the 80s. I was like 10 years old, 82. But anyway, he was talking about his service, and he was talking about how the Vietnam Congs, what do you call it? The Viet Congs or whatever, they were killing white folks. They wasn't killing black folks until much later. And they were calling him daddy or poppy. You know what I mean? Because they knew that the war wasn't about them against the black people. It was about these animals, these non-human beings, these 4D people, death, destruction, disease, and despair, is what they were fighting against. They had no beef with black folks. And like Muhammad Ali said, I'm not going over there to fight the Viet Cong because you want me to fight. I have no beef with them, and they have no beef with me. It's about you, white motherfucker. So with that, I would throw it back at you, but I would put a star or asterisk next to it to say that I'm really looking to see what this whole video is about and what the ultimate I guess summation would be, or the summary of it all would be. But from what I'm hearing, there's a lack of pride in knowing that white folks study black folks about war and how to fight, and that I am not hearing. You know what I mean? So I heard that from my uncle, and he knew that. But I'm hearing a lot of self-doubt in these military guys. But go on ahead and play it.
Okay.
Well, the racial situation here in Camp Tench, it's improving a little, but it's up to the captain to straighten everything out.
Such as what? What needs straightening?
Well, such as writing on the wall and people calling your names and things. And some of the Vietnamese girls work in the club, they act as though, they don't want to serve you and things. And, they call you names too. And when you fire them up for it, you have to go to the brig for it and things.
What are you doing right now?
Well, right now, I'm in CC correctional custody.
What for?
Firing up a Vietnamese girl.
What do you mean by that?
Hitting her.
Why?
Well, I went in there to get a pack of cigarettes, and she was acting as though, she didn't want to get up and get the cigarettes for me. And I asked her what was her problem. And so we started exchanging a few words, and she called me a black man, a bad word, So I hit her, and her boyfriend jumped me. So I had to protect myself, and I hit him, and I got rolled up for it. So it gave me 30 days correctional custody.
You had any other trouble like that?
Yeah, so I had a few incidents, like when you want to get served, raise your hand up for a beer, where they'll pass by and go over and serve a white guy or something. And,
Well, that's the Vietnamese. What about the whites who are here in the Navy?
Well, the white guys over here in the Navy, most of them are all right, but some of them, seem as though they prejudiced, and they pass by in trucks and you be thumbing going to China Beach somewhere, and they won't stop and pick you up. And it could be raining, they still won't pick you up.
There have been some grievance meetings with the CEO and listing of complaints. Anything been done about this?
Not to my knowing.
Have you been in on the meetings?
I've been to one.
What'd you think of it?
Well, they sent it was a brother lieutenant over, and he was talking to us to find out the situation, and I haven't heard anything about it since.
How long ago was that?
About 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half.
This place for 3 years has been known as Camp Tension, not Camp Tenshaw. Do you think it lives up to that name?
Well, I couldn't say.
Not as far as you're concerned.
No, not as far as I'm concerned.
Good. Thanks a lot. John, what's the racial situation like here at Camp Tenshaw?
Okay, there we just had our dapper-looking black brother talking about the racial tension. And I think it's clearly understood that the Vietnamese girl called him a nigger. And then, that started the fight. I couldn't even imagine being in that country and I'm fighting on your quote unquote behalf, and you got the nerve to call me a nigger. She lucky she didn't get a bullet. But what say you, Sister Cassie? What did you think of our brother?
My goodness. You know what? He said, but then when the white guy asked him at the end, did he, what he really thought, he was saying it, right? He was good. He was, he was saying it, but he didn't say it. When the white guy asked him, what do you think? Do you think it's blah, blah, blah? He said, no. He said, no, it's not that. That was at the end. Okay. So either you see it or you don't. He's still sitting on the fence. He still don't want to quite say. But he was saying, this happened. The white little Vietnamese woman did da. So he took care of his business. Then he talked about even the people that he was serving with, how they was treating him. So he said it, but he didn't say it. So I have an issue with just not saying it. When they ask you, you're supposed to say it. Yes, this is what it is. But you want me to fight in this war. That's what I would have said. You want me to fight for this country when this country is still treating me like crap. No. That's why I told my children, no, we don't go to the service. No, we're not doing nothing. Not when it comes to fighting. Absolutely not. Let them fight their own battles. Just like when they was talking about, oh, Palestinian. No, children, no, we're not fighting them either. We're not getting in that fight. That's not our fight. You let them hold their own kahunas, whatever you call them, about whatever. Okay? No, we don't. We're done fighting for the people. And that's why I said no to service. We have enough here on this land to fight. And that's what this should be your fight right here, right now. Because it's enough for you guys in the service. It's good enough for these guys in the service that it went over there and they didn't taught you how that you can bring it home and straighten this shit out anytime you get ready. I really do believe that. Because nothing changes without revolution. Nothing changes without you doing something.
Do you believe that the way he handled his answer, and I would assume he answered it the way that he lived his life over there, would you say that his manhood is damaged? Would you consider that to be a brother whose manhood is damaged because he didn't forthrightly say what needed to be said?
I think he was kind of, because he's in the service and over there, and I think he had to just save himself. You know, he did what he had to do, I think. And that's why I'm going to just say that he did, you know, sometimes my mouth is big and I'd have said blah, blah, blah. And I probably would have gotten in trouble because that's just, but he did. He said what he needed to say at that time because he was in the service and he had superiors and he could have gotten in more trouble because he was already in the hole or whatever he called it because of the fight. But I still believe that he should have said something because he shouldn't even be in a hole.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he was already telling you, we can't get this, we can't get service, we can't get, so how do we get the service? You in a country, a foreign country at that, and you can't even get the service that you need, but you're in uniform. Where's the respect?
Right.
Put some respect on it.
Right.
So how do you get that respect? That's what I think he needs to do to get the respect needed. But then he got punished. Here we go, punishing them again for standing up. So I think he said what he had to say, but I think he could have been a little bit more clearer because he did, he knew, you saw that he knew, but at the end, when the man called him out, he kind of cowered down a little bit at the end.
Right, definitely. And would you say that that was a compromise?
Absolutely, it was a compromise. I think it was, yes. Okay. He compromised, yes, because he really didn't go there. If you said all of this, you should have been saying, "Hey, well, I shouldn't be in a hole." They're not doing. You already said what they weren't doing, but you didn't go all the way. You kind of dipped your toe in it, then you stuck it out. Hold on now, I'm getting ready to. So yes, I believe he compromised.
Okay, all right, excellent, thank you. Doc, are you available?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you watched the Dapper Dan. What do you think about what he said?
It's a continuation of how we as workers, as worker bees, as the subservients, are going to have to continue to behave. As Sister Cassie put it, you can't just come right out and say what it is, because there are going to be harsh and severe repercussions, not necessarily for what you said, but for what you showed. And they're going to know that this is a outspoken Negro right here that we need to, in every way, get out of here one way or another. In regards to the climate, I'm not surprised by anything these military guys are saying. If you go back to World War I and World War II, the U.S. government often made policies that quite simply said Black soldiers are not allowed to go to certain towns, and white soldiers are not allowed to go to certain towns. And the reason they weren't allowed to go to those towns is quite simply because they thought the Black soldiers and white soldiers would end up killing each other, because the racial strife in America was that significant. There's a great book that was written about that, When Jim Crow Met John Bull. And it's about, in Britain, how the soldiers would conflict with each other and they would actually fight each other, trying to kill each other. So I'm not surprised at all. And it takes us back also almost full circle to the fact that is there anywhere on the face of the planet Earth where the brand of blackness is respected by outsiders, or has it been so denigrated that nobody respects us? And if that is the case, it's time for us to come home and close ranks and build our own and take care of our own. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily a physical capturing of land or what have you, building our own continent. But I am talking about taking over cities, taking over parts of cities, and what have you, and making them representative of what it means to be a Black person. And that's something that is wholly, totally doable. And I yield.
Doc, let me ask you on that. When you talk about what it means to be a Black person, and here you are as he was, a Black person in a foreign country fighting for their freedom. When, the woman calls him a nigger, would you say that that's his wake-up call?
I mean, I don't know that, brother. And I would hate to believe that he's that age and needed a wake-up call as far as being Black in this world. One of the lectures that I deal with in my class is Du Bois's The Souls of Black Folk, where he talks about the arrival of, he calls it the dawning of race, the shadow of race that dawns upon him. And I joke with my students about what Blackness means, what it is. And then I stop and I say, wait a minute, hold on. Y'all do know y'all Black, right? And they'll laugh and they'll laugh and they'll laugh. But the truth of the matter is that not many of them really know or understand what it means to be Black. Many of them are believing that it's a conscious choice that they make. Well, I'm Black. No, it's not. This nation has been set up for social classes, racial classes. And let's be honest, the idea of Blackness, the idea of whiteness are social constructs that were created for specific purposes to be advantageous to the majority population in regards to political resources and economic monopolies.
So one last question, Doc. Would you agree or disagree that the world have agreed with white folks that Black men or Black people are the niggers of the planet?
Most certainly. Most certainly. I mean, I hate to talk about people as if they're monolithic, but I just had this conversation earlier today with one of my homeboys about the way that Nigerians in particular look down their nose at Black folk. And he said he ended up telling a Nigerian brother, he said, okay, well, Black folk are so inferior. Don't use anything. Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, anything, affirmative action that Black folk fought for and died for in this nation. Y'all forge your own path. And of course, that's impossible for them to do. Even Africans look down upon us. You'll find individuals in the Caribbean who are trying to emphasize that they're not Black. That no, we're this, we're that. You'll even find some Black folk who deny that they have any relationship to Blackness. If you read Nella Larson's book Passing, that's one of the classic examples of Black folk. Read the autobiography of an ex-colored man. Another example, questioning the idea of what Blackness is and its worth and utility. Blackness has been under attack in this nation from its formation, and Blackness is further attacked around the globe. Black folk, we've allowed for a hit job to be done on the concept of Blackness. And I'll end with this. I had a colleague. He was an Asian colleague, Japanese or some shit. who it was clear to me he shouldn't be around black folk, number one, let alone teaching black kids. However, you know how we do. We allowed him to do that. And he's heading a trip to Japan, to his native land. And they were like, "Yo, do you want to go?" I'm like, "Oh, hell no, he'll never get me over there," and have me jump on him, and I end up getting caned. Um, but those who went, they said, "Man," we all looked at each other and said, "Jones told us," because
Mm.
when they landed in the airport at the airport on his turf, he grabbed all the black men together and said, "Listen, don't think that you're gonna come over here and be having sex with Japanese women,
Mm.
because they don't do that. They're not whores like black women."
What?
Yeah. And they all looked up at each other like, "Fuck,
Wow.
Jones told us not to come over here." And that's how they look at us. You know what I'm saying? And they looking at black men, black women. They looking at all black folk as if you are the worst representation. Think about the worst black behavior that you could ever imagine. That's what they have, and they superimpose it upon us as if that's how all of us are. And I yield, brother.
Mm, mm, mm. Wow. That's something. Wow.
But
Brother
everybody
Isaiah?
love black men. I don't know what they talking about. You already know. And you already know all them countries love our black men. So he was just trying to tell them that so that they wouldn't even try it. But he didn't have to try it. He already knew what was the deal.
Mm, mm, mm. Excellent. Brother Isaiah, what say you?
I'm going to ride on the tail of Doc. Let me, as Sister Kathy and Doc were talking, we're trying to form the narrative that I really wanted to try to pin down. There's just two things. When I was in Hawaii, like going to the University of Hawaii, man, let me tell you something. There are more Japanese women on my ass than I could ever shake a stick at. You know what I mean? Beautiful women,
Mm,
but they were mixed with Hawaiian, and they were like dark. Their bodies beautiful.
mm,
They weren't hating on. They wanted that black dick. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Do you understand me? The black man is the most wanted man in the world, and it's not the most hated man in the world. The most hated man in the world is the white man with his little dick. Everybody knows the deal. They try to make it look like that because they've been penetrated with this white supremacy idea and concept. Let me throw that out.
mm,
But Doc is right. You know, I had the opportunity to go to Japan in the Roppongi district back in the early. I almost graduated in '92, and I never had a problem. I mean, you talking about somebody looking at you, wanting some dick. I never, I never had a problem. And then look, in the Roppongi district, it's so small and compact because the surface area of Japan is more mountainous than it is open. You know what I mean? You can have a 1 square. I'm not telling the truth, but a 10 square apartment can cost you $1 million. You know what I mean? It's really small. But if you're in Japan and in the Roppongi district of Japan, you're going to find a lot of light-skinned, damn near white-skinned Japanese. So a friend of mine that I went with, his father worked for IBM, and I was on his dime, not my parents' dime. So we had an opportunity not only to go to Roppongi district of where we were initially, we went down south in Kyushu. Now, the further south you go, in the north it snows, right? It gets really cold, and the south is hot. And so when you're in the south, the Japanese people are like me and you, dark skin, and you can't determine, if they're black or white unless if they put on sunglasses. They look just like any brother, any sister from from the hood, I guess, if you want to put it like that. But and circling back to what Doc was saying, the hate is real, but it's based on a false notion of what white folks have spread across the world about us. It is not true, but once that really sinks in as to who are the dirtiest motherfuckers on the planet, and it reminds me of I'm still trying to find it, Brother Muhammad. It reminds me of the I don't want to say a cartoon, but of the picture. They have the giant ass white man walking through the ocean of blood with a knife in his hand, and you can just picture it. And the whole world is saying, "I hate your motherfucking ass." And the white man said, why did the world hate me so much? Because you are a dirty motherfucker. I'm telling you. Mark my word. It ain't gonna be for long. It ain't gonna be no 50 years, 100 years from now. Between 5 and 10 years. The world gonna wake up to who the true man and woman are. The true father and mother of civilization are. And who is the liar? Who is the deceiver? Who is the killer of humanity, of plants and animals? And it is the white man, as we know them to be today. They are the nastiest motherfuckers and the most killingest motherfuckers on the planet. I don't know if you've seen it, but I sent it to you from Twitter. There's a white guy telling you, like you in general, don't trust the white man. Don't trust us. Everything we say is double talk. We're talking from one side of the neck to the other. He's telling you exactly how white folks are. They dirty. It is just their nature. It has always been like that and will always be like that. And I throw it back at you.
So Brother Isaiah, you're for your premise, you're definitely saying that we should not trust any of them because they speak out of both edges of their mouths, right?
Yeah, look, I think that's it to you too. The best way I can explain it is our ancestor Muhammad Ali. He said if there's 10,000 snakes outside your door, do you allow them? And you know there's 1,000 good snakes amongst them. Do you allow them to come in? Yeah, motherfucker. No, there are no good white folks. None. Zero, 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 none. They'll stab your motherfucking ass in the back as soon as you turn your back. I know this for a fact. You remember the story I told you about me running track in the 5th grade, and the white boy, I wasn't even running. I was damn near walking. And I look. You want to put it 10 people back, but the coach told him to cut across the grass, cut across the track, and he won. But I finished the race, knowing that to me, as long as I finished, like my parents were voices were running, and my mind is saying, Isaiah finished. And that night, I'm telling you, man, that night when he got that trophy. And they were smiling. They were looking down at me. You know what I mean? You had to go up to the stage or whatever. They were looking at me. And I was looking at them like, you dirty motherfucker. My parents were right. From that day forward, I never trust a motherfucking white motherfucker ever again. I don't need to be spit in my face twice, 3 times, 10 times, 100 times. Nigga, you better get your fucking wake-up call. That was my wake-up call in. And I'm here to tell you, white folks and the world and how we see them, it's changing, man. The world knows who we are. We just don't. The world is waking up to the real man, who the real human beings are. The only human beings in the world, the Homo sapiens are the black man and woman. White folks are not human. You can have sex and have a baby with them. They got the worst fucking genetics in the world. They got the worst gene pool in the world. If you want to have a baby with them, you can have a baby. You know what I mean? But let me throw this at you, and I'll wrap it up with this. The minority that ruled in Europe were black people over the majority white people. I'm going to say that again so you can get the whole gist of what I'm talking about. The minority black elite, King James, King Charles, Queen Elizabeth I, only people were black people. In every other country there is and there was at that time were all black royal families, were bourgeoisie blacks, were ruling over despotically over the Tamahus, the Yurugus. We were landlords. They were serfs. A better word for serf today, well, back in the time, was slaves. The word slave comes from the word Slavic, Indo-European, which was a language group, but it became associated with a people. These people just got in control due to Blumenbach and Meisner's research on bullshit. Scientific, they were no genetic, scientific, racially based science. And you know they got and all this shit has been proven to be false. But they got their PhD from Harvard and Yale. Nigga, my shit, I should be getting a motherfucking PhD in Harvard. Because my shit is real and true. The white man's burden of lies and deceit, everything in that motherfucker is true about them. Blumenbach and Meisner has spun this web of lies and deceit that we are living in its matrix today, based on lies and deceit of the white man. But you know what? I fret none, because I know that at the end of the day, truth wins. Truth wins. Truth wins. And I throw it back at you.
All right. Thank you, Brother Isaiah. We're going to pick up with the video.
Well, at the present time, in the last few months, there's been quite a bit of disagreement between colored people and the white people here. Quite a few fights and people being beat up, and it seems quite bad in general.
Why is it?
I don't really know, sir. I've heard different stories of it, but I don't really believe there was any reason for these people to have these problems, because they haven't got things they want, or they're doing it to get something they want. I don't know why they're doing it.
I assume by they, you're talking about the Negroes.
Right.
Are they the instigators?
Yes, it definitely seems to me that they was this here, that the last trouble that I have seen, it was definitely the Negroes that caused it. They ganged up in around 50 to 75 guys and marched on Tenshaw in the annex. We had 15 guys beat up one night, and the men marched on off-limits areas, and there was nothing done to them. They wasn't broke up or anything. They took the chow hall over. They beat the master at arms up in the chow hall, and just things like this.
Have the men responsible been punished?
There was not one apprehension or military arrest of the 15 guys that beat up that I know of. There was no way we could arrest these men because we was in kind of a bad situation. The show patrol here don't carry weapons, and all these men that were marching, I know that there was 10 or 15 weapons amongst them. We tried to disperse them. They locked and loaded on us and told us if we messed with them, they'd kill us. So we had no choice but to just leave them be.
The situation this is Camp Tension, not Tenshaw.
No, this is definitely, well, Tenshaw, and mostly here in Tenshaw, I guess.
No, I mean that I've always heard Camp Tenshaw referred to as Camp Tension. You go along with that?
That's right. This has been going on now. I've been here 8 months, and we've always had a racial problem here.
Why is that?
I can't understand it. I believe the main reason that it is because they're not they do not conform to military regulations here, and they're not made to conform to them. They get away with a lot of things that the white guys can't get away with there, such as growing goatees, beards, and this. Quite a few Negroes walk around here with them, where a white guy, he's not allowed to wear them. And it just brewed up until it turned into something pretty big.
What do you think of the racial situation here at Camp Tenshaw?
I believe that the racial problems we have here.
Okay, I wanted to stop on that one. And so you heard the first guy talking about the racial problems. Sister Cassie, what do you think about that?
I got a question. Do they really not understand? Do they really not know? Do they ever hold themselves accountable for anything? What, for one, ask yourself, why did the fights break out? For one, they never look at the bigger picture. It's always, them and did this, that, and the other. But what did you do? Where did it all stem from? Just like what you see in today. Where did this come from? The way our children are treated. What's going on in these schools? Where did it come from? Our children were fine until they went to their schools. We were fine until we came together with them. When we were separated, we grew our own everything. We had our own land, had our own homes, had our own everything, right? So when we come together with them, now we at the damn bottom. That's because you shouldn't have did it in the first place. So now, one thing he said that really intrigued me. When he said we saw that they locked and loaded, that's when they backed down. They knew then, right? To leave these niggas alone, right? Mm-hmm. So why aren't we doing that today? Because it still works for today. If we lock and load, guess what? I guarantee you the police will stop doing what they're doing. I guarantee you it. Mm-hmm. I rest my case.
Mm-hmm. I got to get in here before I forget what the hell I'm going to say. My mind is running. Look, white folks are going to be white folks, going to be white folks, going to be. Don't you ever, for as long as your ass is pointing to the ground and sunshine and the creek don't rise and you are black. They are white because they've been indoctrinated. Do you understand what the fuck I'm talking about? They're fooled. They got a mentality of a fucking 5-year-old. You can look and hear these white motherfuckers, these crackers, talking about what the hell they talking about because they don't know shit. If they actually knew that they come from Dravidian albinos, and they actually knew that them Dravidian albinos come from black people, and they actually knew that they were black, they wouldn't be doing all this shit. But due to the fact that they've been indoctrinated, the indoctrinated first started with Blumenbach and Meisner, and they grew from there. On their deathbed, they said that the lie that they told Blumenbach and Meisner is going to come back and bite in their asses, the future generation of these so-called wannabe white people. They're not white. They're not European. They're not Caucasian. They're not Aryan. They're not Anglo-Saxon. They're a bunch of bitch-ass niggas. They're the worst fucking bitch-ass niggas that you could ever imagine, man, because they confused in the head. They've been indoctrinated. You got to understand the mindset of these people. I remember when I was going to school with these motherfuckers. They were looking at me. I said, how are you a Jew? Motherfucker, because I am. That the Jews have always been black. What the fuck are you talking about? Well, you're not a real Jew, bitch. It's hard for them to accept the truth because they've been lied to. I remember, if you remember, Doc, you might want to get up on this, and I'm not trying to insult your friend, because that's your buddy. But the black guy that came on to Brother Muhammad show talking about he was white, that motherfucker confused, player. He is confused. He is out of the norm. He has no sense of his own people and where he comes from. And he ain't white. He's looking more like what that guy on the always shooting threes on the championship. You know what I'm talking about. I can't think of his name.
Curry.
Anyway, huh?
Steph Curry.
Yeah, Steph Curry. You know, Doc, you know your buddy ain't white. And he knows that.
Who are you talking about?
The guy that came on to the show, it was a long time ago. I don't know if you remember, but he came on to the show and he talking about I'm white and this, that, and the other. But don't worry about that if you don't remember. But my thing is that this lie, this matrix, this Wizard of Oz bullshit that they playing, they don't even know who they are. They're not white. They're not Caucasian. They don't even know their own history. I know that motherfucker because I studied these motherfuckers. Because my parents taught me about them. Because I understand where they're coming from. They're coming from a position of a child trapped in a man and woman's body. They cannot have a mental gymnastic kind of competition or intelligence or level of conversation that involves a mindset of an adult. None of them can, because they have that shit so deep within their bones that they're better than everybody else, that they really believe that. And it's all based on lies and deceit and playing the Wizard of Oz game. But when you can accept that from a position of blackness and knowing that everybody comes from us, you walk away with a whole different mindset because you now know how to deal with these people. You deal with them by not dealing with them. And if they come to you with anything, you let them know who they are. Even if they might try to, and I've been on Twitter today, over the last 2 days, there was this British woman talking about, I'm white. No, you ain't. She had damn near had how you say, a conniption? She had a brain aneurysm about that shit. I said, no, you're not. King James was black. No, he ain't. No, yes, he was. Jane Austen was black. Shakespeare was black. Cornwallis, whatever the fuck his name, the guy that cut off the head of King Charles, right? Whatever. These people were black folks running shit. And white folks were our serfs throughout Europe. There's a black pub called the Black Boy, named after, if I remember correctly, named after King Charles, whose mother called him the Black Boy. And that wasn't a degradation of him. That was the love of a black mother with a black child who's royalty. You feel what I'm saying? And that black pub, or that pub called the Black Boy, is still in England. And white folks know that King Charles, King George, King James, 1, 2, 3, 4, whoever the fuck else it is, and all the queens were black. White folks know this. And black folks need to understand, especially here in America. Now look, Brother Muhammad, there's a book called, I can't remember that exact title, but if you look at it, right, you would see the Native American, who were black people. They're like, it's like a shell, right? And they're standing on top of the shell, and they have like 4 white guys. I want to say white, but 4 tomahawks holding them up. Do you understand what I'm telling you? This is the nature of our ruling over them. They didn't rule over nothing. They're still not ruling over shit. It just looked like they are. And I throw it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Brother Isaiah. Doc, what say you?
No, I forgot what the question was, brother. What was the?
It was your comments on the first white guy, what he was talking about the situation.
Oh well, I agree with Sister Cassie 100%. You know, they act. What was that disease that they said that our ancestors would get when they tried to run from slavery? What did they call that? Dryptomania or something like that.
Mhm.
As if they didn't just lost their mind and then went crazy.
Mhm.
You would have to believe in that type of foolishness to believe that there wasn't a catalyst to 50 to 75 brothers getting together and walking through camp, tearing shit up, knowing that we're black and the rules are different and the punishment is going to be harsher for us and what we're doing. It's in many ways going to be career suicide. What was the catalyst to this? Why did
Um,
they do it? What was going on? What has been going on there for years that this camp has this type of reputation, camp tension? Okay, there's a lot of things going on, but in his explanation, what I find is also the it is also the danger of allowing them to write history and to tell the story, because they're going to leave so much out. They're going to act like just all of a sudden these Negroes rose up and woody woo woo woo. The truth of the matter is that there's always a catalyst. And if you have some Negroes who have pledged to support this system, those aren't necessarily going to be the ones who are going to pick up and act a fool, because they're doing this for money, usually not loyalty, not no patriotism. Yo, cut my check and let me get up out of here. So to see them commit career suicide, come on. There's a catalyst to this, and the fact that he won't even mention what the catalyst could be, and he's probably one of the offenders, causes me to cast tremendous doubt upon what it is that he's saying. And I yield, brother.
Doc, he made a statement saying that there's always been a racial problem dealing with the whites and the blacks.
And
Do you see?
His idea of a racial problem is these niggas is always getting out of line.
Mm-hmm. And do you see a day where that statement will be null and void?
That race will not be a problem?
Yeah, that there will not be a racial problem between black and white.
Yeah, I mean, if they're successful in colonizing Mars and figuring out a way to leave up out off of our Earth and leave us here alone. But other than that, nah, this is a beef that will never end. It will never end. And the reason that it will never end is that you have one group of individuals who feel like they really are spoiled children. And they believe that land that was stolen, okay, is their birthright. And there is no reasoning, there is no historical record, there is nothing that could convince them otherwise. So maybe you would be able to not have racial strife if black folk agreed to go back into slavery and Mexicans agreed to join us, and poor white folk agreed that, well, you can do whatever you want to do to us just as long as we're above these other groups. Maybe then. But no, this is, unless somehow they're able to get us to forget about the past and to agree with pervasive, systematic racial oppression, then you could have racial peace. If you as a man could withstand them coming in and fucking your daughter, okay, with no regard for you and how you feel, no decency, no respect, then maybe then we could have some racial, tranquility. But in this nation right now, nah, it ain't gonna never happen. Hell, there wouldn't be racial tranquility in Cassie land. Okay, she would put up a damn fence,
They wouldn't be there.
electrical fence and wire, and
They wouldn't be there.
if they try to get into Cassie land, she'd leave their dead body laying out there as an example for others.
I sure would.
So there will be no peace. And come on, you think about the best that we could have in regards to no racial strife would be the old Michelet song, Nicety. That's the best we can do, even in professional settings. And we know it. You're nicey to people. You know, you don't really want to go out to lunch with them, you know, but you will. But you still feel the tension. It's still going to be nicey. That's it.
Wow. All right. Excellent. Excellent.
You know what? Wait a minute, Doc. You said one thing. You said that they were going to the moon, and and I hope they do.
Hey, look at it. I got somebody who worked at NASA. Okay. All right, sister, who don't ask no questions about our association and our relationship. Okay, but she worked at NASA, and I semi trust this sister. Okay, she told me, she said, "Yo, they on Mars already." She said,
"Come get the rest of them."
She said there are people. She said there are people who are living on Mars right now. We just never talk about it.
Well,
she said, but they're up there. And they're building an infrastructure. She said eventually they're going to Mars.
Come on, get them quick. But if not, maybe they'll disappear because they disappearing already. Even God won't let them devils reproduce themselves. But Black men and women are helping them. So go figure that one out. So I do believe that their day is coming, and it's coming sooner than we believe. I do believe that. And that day won't be. It couldn't get here soon enough for me. Because I'm
Lord, they don't fucked up Earth. They're gonna fuck up Mars too.
Good. I hope they do so they can breathe.
We screwed now. See, we're gonna have to have our galactical, how you say it, galactical army to come. I don't know. I'm just running off out of my mind. Man, white folk, boy, I tell you.
They need to disappear real quick. I'm ready. I'm sick of looking at them.
I know that's real.
I'm sick of looking at them.
Okay, we're going to continue.
Here's calls from new guys coming into the Navy that has been used to pulling the same stuff in civilian life. And they come in the service, they think they can do the same thing. And the problem we had here was caused mostly by Marine and Army personnel. Most of those were over the hill from their duties, and they came down here marching and protesting here on this base, beating up white guys and stuff. And I believe that the lives that were lost in this could have been saved if the shore patrol had been properly armed instead of a nightstick and a hard hat.
You get a lot of transients in here, don't you?
Yeah.
It isn't restricted to Navy.
Yes, we get a lot of Army personnel and Marine personnel that come in here to pick up supplies and stuff, and they stay on the Navy base here in transit. And we have to try to regulate what they do, but it's hard to do. We keep all Army and Navy Air Force personnel from the clubs, except the ones attached directly to Camp Tenshaw, and still they get in and cause trouble. I believe that the trouble we have here wasn't caused by the personnel we have here, except maybe a couple.
How do you rate race relations right here within the guys assigned to Tenshaw?
Well, we have a few here on this base that are big race right leaders, and they want to do this stuff, but here in Camp Tenshaw, we keep it pretty well regulated. I don't believe this would have ever occurred if the Marine and Army personnel hadn't been allowed to come on the base.
Thank you very much. Jerry, what do you think of the racial situation here at Camp Tenshaw?
Okay, so as we continue to see, because I don't think that there's another there's one last Black person. I'm going to skip to that last Black person because all the whites are going to say the same thing.
It's still uneasy, and you never know if it's going to break out again at any time or what. But right now the tension is still awful high.
We made it. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, okay? Fine. Ron, what's racial relations like here at Camp Tenshaw?
Well, Actually, it's a horrible problem going on right now. We've had some conflict, and I think that actually there should be something done about it, because myself, I think I can speak for several other black people, other brothers, and we're tired. We're tired. We over here fighting for something that some of us don't even believe in. Some of us come to the service to get ourselves together up here, and others come because they don't have anything else to do or they're forced to by the service. But I came to get myself together, and these people are going to drive me crazy. I think that there is a solution to the problem, but no one man can find the solution as of yet. I've been to several meetings here, but we've drawn no conclusions. All we've been doing is beating around the bush. Sooner or later, there will be something done, because the people over here, the brothers, we'd rather die on our feet than to keep living on our knees. The problems really exist with the name calling, just as it is back in the world. Now, if something is done about it here, where it really begins, then when the people go back out into the streets, then they'll know how to act, and then they'll be good citizens. But here, it's been going on like this in the Selective Service for many years, and nothing has been done about it. But now, I think we have a chance, and I hope something's done about it.
Did you volunteer to come over here?
Yes, I volunteered to come over here.
Why?
Because I told you, I figured that my brothers were coming over here dying. I wanted to come and see if it was as horrible as people said it was. And actually, it's not that horrible. But the thing is, going through the day-to-day routines with the name calling and what have you, I think that has a lot to do with it. It'll break a man down mentally, if not physically. Because the work, it's not that bad. No, I don't think it's that bad. I volunteered to get myself together to see if what people came back from here said it was, and it's not. It's not.
What do you think's going to happen here at Camp Tenshaw?
Well, I've been listening around, and some of the people said that if something's not done about it, what's happening right down here at Camp Tenshaw has been heard all up north, and I think this would be a pretty horrible thing if all of the brothers stopped fighting like they said they're going to do. And I think they will do it because they're tired. They're over here fighting for the people back in the world, and when they get back to the world, they're treated like animals. I wouldn't take it. You wouldn't take it. You're a man. It's not called for.
We have a real life mystery. Military says suicide.
All right, so there you had the last black person talking. Doc, what say you about what you just heard from the last brother?
You know, it's the same thing over and over again, you know. But the thing I would like to focus on is his emphasis of why they were doing it. You know, many of them came there, you know, because they had no other option. And let's be very clear that has been one of the telltale signs of U.S. military enrollment, that they go and get those who have historically been in subpar situations, subpar schools and what have you, don't have money for college and really don't have the know-how to even access financial aid. So they go to the military and have to risk their lives for this. And then you have it, and he made this great point where he's saying, you know, I came here to try to get myself together, which is a very interesting way of talking about becoming an adult. I'm trying to get myself together. I'm trying to get exposure. I'm trying to learn. Yet at the exact same time, it makes you cringe, because wasn't there not even a better, but a similar option available to you within Black America? And unfortunately, I believe that we all know the answer, that if you're talking about Vietnam, you're talking about integration having happened already in the decline of the Black community and Black society in general. So that's really what stood out for me, is quite simply they're over there fighting and trying to develop themselves. But ironically, their efforts are strengthening the very machine that forced them to have to make that choice and to go abroad to try and survive. And I yield, brother.
Mm-hmm. And Doc, what does it say? Because you did bring up the point that he made about getting himself together. What does it say about the individual that will go to a war zone to get yourself together?
that they probably were raised and existed in a less combative war zone. He's running. That brother is one of those. You're either running from something or running to something. He was running from something, and whatever he was running from, he deemed to be more damaging and more disappointing than going into a war zone.
Good
Now, as to if he was correct or incorrect, that's a whole nother issue. I believe that he was probably incorrect in regards to his summation, but that's what community is for. That's what us taking care of our own is really about.
Or maybe he ran into what he was used to.
What do you
Coming
mean?
from some of these ghettos, that is a war zone. So
Yeah.
he ran into some familiar territory. That's what it sounds like to me. You know?
Possibly.
But that's sad, though, on so many levels, that he actually knew the hardship. But I still feel that he was blinded in some areas because he said it's still not that bad. So from where he came from, sound like it was a whole lot worse, than where he came from. Where he came from was a whole lot worse than what he went into to him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. One of the things that I picked up the moment that I saw him, and I was trying to discern this, was that standard military issue headwear that he had on, that he had just put his own twist on and tilted it onto his head. Getting his own style going on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. They issue you those black caps. But he just wore it his way. Wore it his way.
But the sad thing is that they gaslight so bad that even now today, the FBI has told us that the police department has been infiltrated. But they see the problem and they ignore it. And they want Black folk to just accept it. Let's bite the bullet and just don't say nothing. Don't touch. Just keep your eyes, keep your blinders on. It's nothing to see here. And you just deal with it. No, Black folk tired of that. I believe in friendly fire in Cassie land. I do. If I'm over there fighting with the other people, plus I gotta fight with the people that I'm sleeping in the same tent, or not even the same tent. I'm sleeping on the ground. They sleeping in, bumps or whatever. That's crazy. Why are we putting up with this? But you want me to go in the service and serve that? No. Fix it. They see it's a problem there. Why aren't they fixing it? Because they're not fixing it in America. Because they're going to continue allowing the same stuff that's happening in America to happen right there with those two. You put them together knowing that you're going to have this animosity. But you're going to tell the Black men, okay, I want you to fight them and and whoever else you're out there fighting, the other enemies too. Well, you're sleeping with the enemy. And then you get gaslight like this. Oh, there's nothing to see. It's all the Black folk. They keep doing blah, 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 blah. So why aren't you fixing it? We know the police department has been infiltrated. The FBI told you. They don't fix anything. They don't hold anybody accountable, especially not their own. They'll blame us all day long, every day, all day long. And nothing's being done. Nothing's being fixed. So why aren't we as Black people fixing it ourselves? This is where the military come in at. Globally, buy our own land. And I totally agree. I'm going to just say it. I believe in total separation. I don't like all of this. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. Separating, and we don't have all of this. All of this could be alleviated at any point. We get ready. Buy your own land. Have your own military, your own police department, your own government, period. So why aren't we doing it in America? Because we know we're not going to get any fairness living amongst them. Letting them rule Black people, nothing will ever change. So do you want Black folk to rise up with friendly fire? Or do you want us to separate, give us a separate government, a Black one, our own police department, and let us live in peace, separate but equal? I believe in that. We got to get back to that. All of this still it's not working. We didn't try to live with them. Done. You got mental illness so bad with Black folk right now. It's crazy. We're taking on their characteristics, killing our whole families. We used to do that. But it's so traumatizing living in this country and living amongst them that we just lose. We have mental illnesses all the time, and you get 50, 100 life because you didn't slap the teacher. Like they're trying to get this young man 37 years for slapping a white teacher when he was on all these drugs, medication. They know what was going on. The judge won't even let him have like his day in court to get his his evaluation, because they got him on all the psychotropic drugs. And the judge know it. So they say, oh, no, we're not going to do, let's just move it. We're going to just sentence him. No, what are you talking about? This boy slapped the hell out of her for a reason. Tell me why. Let's stop with the gaslighting. The best thing is for us to separate. I'm tired of what I'm seeing. Who else is tired? And why aren't we doing anything about it? I rest my mic.
Exactly. Thank you, Sister Cassie. Brother Isaiah?
Man, I don't know. I know and I don't know. You know what I mean? White folks are big because they're confused. They're out of order. They have no sense of self. They're living a life of lies and deceit. How can you not see that? How can you not know that? And when you're listening to white folks and the army talking about, the Negro, the nigga, well, I ain't no goddamn Negro. And they don't even know how great we are. Because the educational system in America is built toward them. It's bent toward them to make them look bigger and better than what they are. And that's from The Lost Cause. There's a great book called The Lost Cause. And then you have the white woman who was propped up by the Daughters of the Confederacy because they man wasn't shit. So they had to erect all these statues throughout all the South to make them out to be more than what they are. And then when the Daughters of the Confederacy went kaput, what do you call that? Defunct in 1920. Now here you come with the children of the Confederacy, saying in essence that black folk love slavery. What people love slavery? But this is the psychology and the ideology that was built upon the matrix of lies and deceit in our educational system that is still going on today, that is feeding wrongfully white minds into believing that I'm white and I say so, and you must do what I tell you to do because I got the best interest for you. I know what I'm doing. But they don't know what they're doing. They done screwed our nation, our civilization, the Western civilization, all fucked up. Everywhere the white man has brought nothing but death and destruction to it. And this is what must be taught, and this is what must be accepted, and this is what must be known amongst us. You cannot look at a white motherfucker and think that they are sane. You're talking about an insane people who have been brought up to believe in lies about themselves and their history. They have no history. They just got here. They didn't exist 5,000 years ago. They just got here 4,000 years ago. And I'm giving probably another 1,000 years to them. And when they got here, they wasn't doing anything. They couldn't make a boat that their idea of their concept of a boat with a log sitting on it. They couldn't make a window, let alone a shoestring for a shoe. They didn't have no intelligence. They got all of their intelligence from us. It was black folk that started the revolution, the industrial revolution, after ruling Europe for 800 years. This is not some fucking nigga shit I'm thinking of. You know this, Doc. White folks ain't shit. They've been lying and living a lie, and they painted themselves into a corner that they cannot get out of. And so when I look at them not only with disgust, because they're still doing what they do best, killing, and we see that every day on the news with Israel and the Palestinians, but I look at them the way our ancestors look at them, and you better start looking at them the same way. Our ancestors didn't give a fuck about them. We locked them out of Egypt for thousands upon thousands of years, and for whatever motive, we let them in and civilized them. That was a fucking mistake. We taught them metallurgy or whatever the hell it was, and look at what the mess that got us in Greece and Rome. Same shit. And in Spain, after we took it over into the 700s, white folks wasn't doing anything. They couldn't even wipe their own ass. There was a time when they were throwing shit and piss out of the third-story windows because they had no concept of cleanliness. Can you imagine living in an area where they live and you walking under the fucking window and you got piss and shit dropping on you? It was the black man in Spain that created the cleanliness, the chlorine we created. We understood the necessity of cleanliness. Now, if you thought Spain was doing some shit, man, look, in America, from what's the name of that? How that song go, Brother Muhammad? From the land of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. That just wasn't a song, nigga. That was our empire. We had the largest army in the fucking world. We ran it. It was the black men that created the longitude and latitude. We created the ships that control commerce. I mean, what else can be said? We are the greatest people on the fucking planet. White folks ain't shit. Everything they got from us. And even if they did get it from us, they fucked it up. Because they don't know how to keep things going. The longest they've ever controlled anything, especially out of Egypt, was 150 years. In Greece, 150 years. And now their time is up, 150 years. They don't have the mental capacity, the emotional quotient, the intelligence to run any civilization for thousands of years like we do. Not throw that shit back. Fuck white folks and forget about them. Turn your back on them. Don't give them not one iota of a molecule of oxygen and put them motherfuckers on death. What do you call it? On life support. Fuck them.
All right, thank you, Brother Isaiah. I know our time is up. I want to do two more videos. They're both short videos. They're one is 6 minutes, the other is 4. But it's a conversation between Monique and Steve Harvey, and we talked about this before, Doc. But I want to show this and come back and have a conversation about it because it's dealing with a real fight, and we're in this fight. It looks to me like Monique is the more militant individual of this, and Steve Harvey is more go along to get along. But I want us to look at it and come back and discuss it really quick, because we got to know that we got to fight, and how do we fight?
Telling you,
Baby, he be saying it like I'm a problem.
oh, you have been a problem.
Well, Steve, Okay.
What was it? Let's go.
Let's go.
You started getting labeled as difficult.
Yes.
Why do you believe that happened? And do you see that changing, and why?
I got labeled as difficult. My husband and my husband is Sydney, who happens to be my manager. We got labeled as difficult because I said one word, and that was no. Now, I said no to some very powerful people. I said no to Oprah Winfrey. I said no to Tyler Perry. I said no to Lee Daniels. And I said no to Lionsgate. And the difficulty came in when people that look like me, like Oprah, Tyler, Lee Daniels, and I gotta put my brother Steve on the list. Y'all knew I was not wrong. Each one of you said to me, Monique, you're not wrong. And when I heard you go on the air and you said, my sister done burnt too many bridges and there's nothing I can do for her now. Steve, do you know how hurt I was?
But Simone, now let me give you this. Because you and I had this conversation, I thought you went about it wrong. See, I felt that you had done yourself a disservice by the way you chose to go about it.
Tell me how I went about it.
I was cool with you, with your deal with Netflix. I was cool with you. The two problems that we had, number one, the boycott of Netflix,
yes.
We never gave people a point of action. Okay, if we're gonna boycott, are we gonna not get subscriptions? Are we gonna turn it off? Are we gonna go down there and get signs? The second point, what was coming to me was, this problem that you had at Netflix is rich people problems. Because they looking at us going, you talking about you didn't get millions, or you got this, you ought to be cool.
But when you say, Mo, it's the way you went about it, and I want to explain that, and I thank you for saying that. Inequality is devastating, and it's extreme. And when people said, Monique, do you think calling a boycott was extreme? You damn right. But isn't inequality extreme? So we've got to get to a place where we're unafraid to say it out loud.
Okay.
What I would have loved, what I would have appreciated from my brother was had you picked up the phone before you went on the air and said, Monique, you've burned too many bridges and there's nothing I can do. See, I would have appreciated had my brother called me up and said, baby, let's talk. Because you doing that was a part of me being difficult.
But not before that though.
Yes, baby.
Remember the moment on stage?
Oh, yes.
See, now that
right
was
a wonderful moment, Steve.
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
Monique.
my goodness.
No, it wasn't.
That was one of those moments.
See, no, it wasn't.
That Richard Pryor whispered in my ear and said, say it. You say it.
Richard
Because
Pryor did
I'ma
not
tell
tell
you
you to say that
yes,
with
he
your
did.
crazy ass.
Oh, baby, yes, he did. Yes, he did. I do not regret, as I said on the Steve Harvey show, I do not regret one moment of that night on that stage.
No, in case you don't know, Mo told Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lee Daniels to suck her private parts.
Not my private parts.
Well, you said if I had one, I want them three to suck my private parts.
Yeah.
It wasn't private parts on stage. So now, then I went, oh, I quit breathing. I quit breathing for you.
I didn't.
What happened to you, Mo, was when you made that statement, the narrative got flipped. It wasn't about Netflix no more. It wasn't about Netflix no more. The attention was all off of where we needed to go. Huh?
That was before Netflix.
So good. So now when you bring up Netflix, it don't get no win, but you done just said this to these three people. And these three people, not because they're powerful, but because of who they've come. And what happens is, I told you, we can't cure darkness with more darkness.
What we can do is cure it with comedy. And what I'm not gonna do, Steve, I'm never, ever gonna waver from my comedy show on that stage. That's my gift, and that's my freedom. And what happens is, when you allow people to start taking your freedom and your gift and making it become what makes them comfortable, we then lose. When you called me with the morning show on the phone, I said to you, Steve, my family is suffering behind this. And y'all know I did nothing wrong. Y'all know my husband did nothing wrong. But none of y'all in real time, was strong enough to go publicly and say, we can't throw our sister under the bus.
Because Mo, listen to me. We fighting two wars here.
What war?
There's two wars. It's what your issue is, and it's what the perception of the issue is, And the narrative has changed.
See, I'm hearing what you're saying, baby, and I agree with it when the narrative changes. But if all of y'all said, this is the only issue I have with it, baby, when all of y'all said privately, to include Oprah, all of y'all said privately, I've done nothing wrong.
When you tell the truth, you have to deal with the repercussions of the truth. We black out here. We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to. Listen to me. Your husband can't be the Sydney that he really is out here.
Let me tell you something.
That flexing, we got to flex a different way. We out here in a game. This the money game. This ain't the black man's game. This ain't the white man's game. This is the money game.
But
we in the money game. And you cannot sacrifice yourself. The best thing you can do for poor people is not be one of them. You cannot help them.
We're in the money game, but let me tell you what the game is before the money game. Before the money game, it's called the integrity game. And we've lost the integrity worrying about the money.
But Mo,
wait a minute.
If I crumble, my children crumble, my grandchildren crumble. I cannot, for the sake of my integrity, stand up here and let everybody that's counting on me crumble so I can make a statement. There are ways to win the war in a different way. We got more right after this. Hey, you made it to the end of this video. I got a lot more that you're gonna enjoy, so just click to watch the next one. And make sure. All right, I'm back here with my sister Monique, and we're getting real. Come on, so listen to me. Here is what I want you to understand about this whole thing.
Yes.
As we try to come through this, because what I want really is for you to come through, because I know who you really are. And so what I want you to do is come through this with a different way. Because you, Monique, you my girl. I love you like a sister. I hate what's happening to you. I hate what they're saying that's not true. I want them to know that.
Okay, so they have just cut the live stream. Let's see if they're going to bring us back. So it doesn't look like we're coming back. Those who can continue to hear us, those in the chat, if you can hear us, maintain. It doesn't look like they're going to allow us to come back. Yep. So they have cut the live stream. They're not able to get it on, let's see. We're going to begin to, when we do our stream, to stream to Instagram as well, because of these problems that we're having with YouTube. Let me see.
Looks like we're back. I see Monique, but looks like we're back though.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to continue showing the video, but let's get into
We've seen enough of the sellout Steve.
Yeah. Steve quoted this white guy. Lang Hancock, who said the best way that you can help the poor is not to become one. And he was a tycoon in business. Um, in here, you have Monique, who I would consider towards being definitely militant, definitely on point, doing the right things, saying the right things. And they got upset with the comedy thing that she did when she told Oprah and the other two to suck her penis if she had one. And as you saw Steve say, well, look, I can't put my integrity on the line. I can't look at integrity when I'm looking at this is how I feed my family. So if I go out and step out and support you, then it compromises me being able to feed my family. This is a real good example because we're out here and we're talking about the changing of the reality that we're living in. We're changing the relations of power. We're advocating and showing our people that who the real enemy is and what is our duty. And as Steve Harvey said, well, there's a price to telling truth. There's a price to telling truth. And to him, it's the way Monique went about telling the truth was the wrong way. She shouldn't have been as blunt and as straightforward. Well, we do the same thing. We're very blunt and we're very straightforward in the things that we understand and know as the truth. A lot of whites will say that, what we're doing is teaching hate speech. A lot of people may say that what we're doing is anti-American, when in reality, it is the very fiber that made George Washington and all of those others become militant against Britain. When J. Edgar Hoover said the most important revolution is the American, it is the Negro Revolution. Those are words that really matter if we're understanding the concept of what freedom actually is and what actually needs to be done in order to obtain that freedom. So in our closing, I would like for you all to give what you thought about the video. In your opinion, was Steve wrong? Was Monique wrong? If you say Monique was wrong, then what way should she have gone about it? And using that same ruler that you used to judge Monique, use that same ruler to judge us and how we are trying to navigate from point A to point B on that freedom road. And we'll start with you, Doc.
Sister Monique is in a very tough situation. She's in the situation that Black folk are usually in with white folk. She doesn't have the power when you're talking about Oprah. You're talking about Tyler Perry, and you're talking about who's the Lee Daniels. She doesn't have the power to demand anything from them. She basically is going to have to either eat shit and grin or pray that they're having a special day where their conscience is kicking in. So she's damned if she does and she's damned if she doesn't. It makes no difference what she said on that stage if they've already decided that they're not going to work with her. And it is the position of the righteous, strident, morally correct, who really believe in walking that walk that they talk about. We find ourselves in that position often. Same thing with this panel. You have a choice to make. and we don't all agree upon everything. And this would make this show a very bland and boring show. There's going to be some different perspectives and viewpoints and what have you. Yet you have to speak your piece individually, and you hope that your piece that you're contributing is going to lead Black folk closer to liberation in one way or another. So I applaud, the panel and what it is that we do here on a weekly basis, because we are fighting multiple demons, on multiple fronts. We're not only having to fight white folk, we're having to fight Black folk who have become white-minded, so-called Negropeans. But we're up for the fight. We'll continue to fight. This is an urge and a desire and a must-do that the Lord put on our hearts. So we have no other choice, to be honest with you. And I yield with that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Doc. Sister Cassie?
You know what? They want us to always conform to their way of life. They want us to always compromise when we deal with them. We don't have to lick their asses for nothing. Dave Chappelle made his own way, right? So don't tell me I got to always do it your way. I can make it my way. If Dave Chappelle did it, then Monique get with him and say, dude, how did you do it? And do it her way. Dave Chappelle is calling his own shots. He ain't kissing their asses for nothing. And I'm sick of us trying. Every time we look around, we got to kiss their behinds for anything and everything. No, we don't need them. But we've gotten so brainwashed to thinking that every time we breathe, we got to ask them before we take a breath. We don't have to ask them for nothing. The only way Black folk gonna get free of this is stop compromising. No more compromise. That's all Stephen Harvey know how to do. He'll do whatever they want him to do on air. And what kind of life is that? I can't breathe unless he asks first. He can't even go to the toilet unless he asks first. And they want him to wear a dress, he'll wear one. What kind of life is that? We don't always have to conform to them, but we always think that we have to. If we want to eat, just like he said, if we want to eat, we got to do this, that, and the other. No, I'm going to eat regardless. I'm going to eat because I'm going to learn how to eat without you. Because like I'm going to keep talking about Dave Chappelle, he made his own way, didn't he? He went on, did what he needed to do, came back, can't tell him nothing now. They can't even touch him. They can't take his money. He's making his own bread. He's doing he's doing his thing. So why are we so afraid to move? We know what kind of man Steve Harvey is. He's been like that all the time. He's not going to ever change because he's a coward. He's what they call a coon. He would do anything for them that he asked. And no, I don't think she was wrong. I think she needs to get it together and make her own money and stop allowing them to hold her back, because that's what she's doing right there. Right now, she's compromising because I'm not going to say she's compromising, but she's not making her money. She's not making her bread. She's dependent on them. No. Now, you can't say what you're going to say depending on them. Come from among, be ye separate, and learn not. When we get it together and start thinking separation from them, then we'll see us starting to do what we need to do. So why aren't we doing it? We know it can be done. So as long as you're under them, even Oprah, she can't come out and take care and do what she wants to do because they still got their foot on her neck for real, for real. Why do you think she don't help Black folk? Tyler Perry the same way. Why do you think he don't help Black folk? He's not training anybody. Nobody great is coming from Tyler Perry because he can't do it. So no matter how much money they make, if you under them, you working under white supremacy, you're not going to ever be free because you cannot speak, you cannot do, you cannot think for yourself. You always will have to be up under them. Period. Our teachers, they got to teach our children their way. Doc, try to teach our children, try to teach our kids the new Black way. Try to teach them that way, and what happened? You ain't gonna have a job. You got to do it. You have a curriculum. They give you a curriculum. You got to do it their way. But if we open up our own learning centers, we can do it our way. And we as Black folks should be able to do that. We can come together and build our own schools. We don't need them. They got us so twisted around here. We built all of this. But they got you thinking that you can't do anything without them. Please, I'm sick of that. I'm tired of Black folk conforming. We work in these hospitals and they'll sit up there and give you all kind of hell because I hear it. Doctors, nurses, you can't even breathe. They come together against you. Well, come together, pull your monies together and create your own wellness center, birthing centers in our neighborhood for us. We can solve this anytime we get ready. We can stop all this. Come from among. He already told you what to do. And we still fight to be up under them. I don't feel sorry. I'm getting to a point. I don't even feel sorry for Black folk. You're not even trying to be free at this point. You're trying to conform. We've been conforming. We've been trying since forever. And it's not working. We got high blood pressure, all this crazy, darn near heart attack, strokes, and everything else dealing with these crackers. Aren't you tired of being sick? A lot of your sickness is coming from them. The stress that you have to live through on their jobs. Our children didn't used to act the way they act. Look at them. You think those schools are good for our children? We always conforming to them. But don't make the white folk mad. I don't give a damn if I make all of them mad. What you gonna do? What you gonna do for real? You can't do nothing. But we gotta free our minds. It's time to free our minds. Steve Harvey is looking at that money, and that brother, he compromised. That he wouldn't even think about speaking up. What did he tell you? We gotta do what they tell us to do, Master. Master told us how to act. We got to do what Master told us to do. What you doing? Telling them what you doing? Get the house on fire. He telling her to get a bucket. Get your bucket and get some water. I hope that bitch burned down. Let it burn. Let it burn. You think I'd have been out there getting some water? I wouldn't even say nothing. I'd have let it burn. I wouldn't even told nobody it's on fire. I wouldn't even call the ambulance. If I see him on the side of the road, I drive right past him, probably run over and keep moving. Nobody got time for them. They didn't get you to the point where you just look at them and you frown just looking at them. You walk past them and your nose go up. I'm sick of their asses, all of them. And I'm sick of Black folk not understanding the dangers that they are. I'm sick of us compromising. I'll rest my mic.
All righty. All righty. Thank you, Sister Cassie. All right, Brother Isaiah, what say you?
Yeah, Sister Kathy, I'm gonna ride on your coattail right now. But also, I want to look at what Robert F., our brother Robert F. said, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that our rise is in fall. Yeah. Very well put. If I'm going to sum it all up about what I'm going to say right now, that's it. You know what I mean? Politically, economically, and spiritually. Esto hablando, Esto hablando, oye, esto haciendo en la entrevista. Ven acá. Excuse me. Excuse me. My family is rough, man. Talking about ghetto. But look, two things about Oprah. That fat skinny bitch, as what's the name of that
All Mooney. All Mooney.
Yeah, All Mooney. She sold out a long time ago, man. In her movie where she playing the mammy, she sold out a long time ago, guys. The whole industry, whether it's comedy, whether it's record, whether it's movie, it's all a den of sin and disgust, all wrapped up and involved in the 7 deadly sins: greed, gluttony, sloth, envy, pride, wrath, and lust, and pedophilia. Well, and there was a brother who talked about possibly that Steve got a boyfriend. Like I was trying to find it, but this shit gone. If you want to make it into Hollywood, you gotta suck dick and lick ass, put your tongue around white folks' ass, getting fucked in the ass. This is some real shit. We all grown here. That pedophile island, everything is very real. It goes beyond that, and from what I'm hearing, there's some other Virgin Islands kind of thing going on too. Now he created a everything kind of island. But these white folks, man, this shit runs deep in them. You talking about being separate from them, leaving them behind. Our rise is their downfall. And to put it in a nutshell, I remember two things I wanted to say clearly about Oprah. That on her show, what's the name of that white doctor who's now famous? He got his own doctor. He got on his, huh? He
Dr.
was running for
Phil?
senator. No. The other doctor, he ran for senator.
Dr. Oz.
Yeah, Dr. Oz. Okay. Look, it gave me a fucking headache because I didn't understand it. But he was on her show talking about the reason why black people got blood pressure because of slavery. They came over here on the slave ship. Well, bitch, where the fuck do you motherfucker come from? We enslaved you motherfuckers 6 million deep. You didn't do no 6 million deep with us. We enslaved you for thousands of years, motherfuckers. So what do you call yourself? And she was on that stage going along with that bullshit. I agree, Dr. Oz. Man, fuck Dr. Oz. He ain't even white. You know what I mean? But the insult and the depths of not knowing who you are is where it's all at. A tree without roots will fall. But if you are rooted, like Doc, like Cassie, like me, like Brother Muhammad, nobody can run no game on you, baby. Ain't nobody gonna beat. Look, I sent my book to the highest ranking white motherfucker on Twitter, Alex Jones, Stewart, some guy named Stewart, I can't remember. But yeah, you name them, I sent it to him. Bill O'Reilly. Now they got all the motherfucking education in the world, and they can't beat little old me. What? Nah, I ain't got no motherfucking PhD, power high and deep degree, and a bunch of fucking lies. You can't run no fucking game on me because I learned from the masters of our history, not from white motherfucker who ain't gonna tell you the truth about us, about our kids, about learning, letting them learn the truth about who the Vikings were and who King James were and how King James created the 13 colonies and that George Washington was a black man. Do you understand what I'm telling you? All these motherfuckers are compromised sexually. In the rap, you think some of the biggest rappers in the world, they compromised. They've been sucking dick and getting fucked in the ass for a long time. And I don't want you to feel bad, Cassie, because I'm on your side. You know that, right? But I was surprised to find out that Dave Chappelle was compromised. He put on a dress, baby. Earrings and all, lipstick and all. And they were doing a little thing about, and I'm going to send it to you. They were doing a little thing about, on a make-believe, what's that guy? Famous white guy. Shit, I can't remember. But anyway, as bad as he was saying how he never compromised and he's funnier than a dress, that nigga put on a dress. So, long and the long of it short, the short of it long, whatever the fuck it is. Our rise is their downfall. Our mental, spiritual rise, our economic rise, our political rise, and our awareness of what we are and how we are, what we were, and what we are today, and what we will be tomorrow. Is right now and here, front and center. You cannot escape blackness. You cannot escape it. And we will rise. After we're back.
All right. Thank you, Brother Isaiah. All right. Excellent program, everybody. We're going to move to our final closing comments with your thoughts on how do we get the black man to be more militant in today's time. So that's a question I would like for you to answer. And we'll go ahead and start with you, Sister Cassie.
Total separation, period. That's it. Educate yourself, come from among, be separate, and learn not. Plain and simple. Get our military together so that we can be policed ourselves. We can police ourselves. Excuse me. And we can separate. Start buying our own land. Because it's not going to happen as long as they're educating our babies. They're going to only get worse because right now they're teaching them, they're wearing dresses. They're teaching them how to wear dresses. They tell them LGBT is the way to go. So you're getting worse. You're not getting better, but they're doing it on purpose. But shame on you, Black parents, for allowing them to teach your children this. You're allowing this. And then you sitting up there wondering, oh, our children bad as hell. Well, how they get like that? Don't talk about your child. You allowed it. We're supposed to be their saviors. We're supposed to be our children's protector. We're not protecting them. We're letting them crackers do anything and everything to our children. And when it comes to you educating their children, look at what they did at the Harvard. What was that? What school is that? For the Black president, she just resigned. Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
Did they let her be over your children? Hell to the no. But we're gonna let them be over ours. Anytime we come in position, they got something to say because they so used to being over us. So when we take the lead, they still want to show you still my nigga. Mm-hmm. I'm still over you. No matter what, you might think that you over us. But I'm gonna show you that you're not. So what happened? They harassed her the whole time. But this is what they do. But the only way we're gonna get it is come back to educating our own. You got to change the mindset. We have been so traumatized. We got to get back into, we need counseling. We need therapy. We need help. Because right now, you see more Black guys switching around here. Men, we need y'all back in we need y'all back in the homes. Because these women are ruining these boys. I ain't never seen so many, I started to say something, I'm going to say it that way. I ain't never seen so many LGBT men, boys. You got women teaching them on poles. I seen little boy on a damn strip pole. What the hell you doing? Who does that? Oh, it was on Instagram. She had her. Oh, it was so disgusting. It made me sick to my stomach. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was a man. It was his dad. Had him on look it up. I'm telling you, I was so disgusted. What are we doing? And then I seen where the women had the girls on strip poles. What are we doing? What are we teaching our babies? Are we serious here? You taking over their cultures, their characteristics? That's not who we are. So you're not teaching them how to fight. You're not taking them to the range. You're taking them to a damn strip pole. So I don't know. I just don't know. At this point right now, I don't see, unless we get it together, unless we separate, total separation, to first heal, then educate our babies. That's the only way that I'm going to see us becoming that militant group again. That's the only way I'm going to see the Malcolm X's, the Khalid Muhammad's. Because Khalid Muhammad this wouldn't be tolerated. You know that. He told you, kill them all. And I totally agree. I spent his birthday giving honor to my ancestor. He just had a birthday, and that's all I listen to, all his videos. Because he was the leader. He was our real Black leader. He was the real deal. And they murdered him. And I guarantee you it was a Black man that was around him that did it. I guarantee you it was in somebody in his own circle that wasn't dedicated enough and compromised over $1. And you took out the best leader that Black folk had. You took him out for $1. And that person shouldn't be allowed to live. Just like the same people that took out Black Panthers, okay, Malcolm X, they should never have been allowed to live. And the one that took out the Black Panther man he lived to be an old man, wasn't he? About 65, 70? He lived to be old man. Why was he alive so long? He died of natural causes. Why? I'm just saying. He should have been dead. And I don't condone violence. I condone justice. But the only way we're going to get back to it is to educate our own and renew our minds. I rest my life.
Awesome. Thank you, Sis Cassie. Isaiah. Come on, you're closing.
Each one reach one, each one teach one. That's about the best that I can do. But let me say this. Take your fuck white folks. Teach our own history, the true history. Our rise is their downfall. The rise from the depths of lies to the peak of truth of our history. From the depths of poverty thinking to how our ancestors thought, the peak of that. From the depths of all the negative things that white folks have taught this world and turned the motherfucker upside down, our ascension is the opposite. There's no need to hoop and holler, yell and scream and do all this and you know what I mean? Find peace, shalom, paz within you. This mind. This is right here is the holy land, the promised land. And the more you water it with knowledge and wisdom and understanding, the more you're going to get out of it. We can turn a desolate desert into paradise. That's our accomplishment in the past. That's our accomplishment now. That will be our accomplishment forevermore in the future. We are the very answer that the world needs. It ain't the white man. The white man, the white woman, and his bastard ass children are the most hated people on the planet. If you don't believe that, okay, fine. But in the end, you're gonna see it. It ain't gonna be no 50, 100 years from now. Right now, you can see that shit happening in Palestine. White folks are showing their ass. White folks are showing their ass, and they ain't got no ass to show. They're showing how they really, really, truly are, what they think about niggas, brown-skinned folks. And at this time and at this juncture, the world is going to open up to this whole fear of truth about who the black man is, who the black woman is. The black woman is the mother of all civilization and all of humanity. Without her, there would be no other people on the planet. Without the black men, there would be nothing on this planet. We are the sum total of everything and nothing. So all of this white folks, I really don't give a fuck. But they don't count. They never counted. They only counted because we're paying attention to their bullshit. We're paying attention to the image of their playing this Wizard of Oz game. But once you blow the smoke out, you see this blue bitch of a man standing there trying to run game on you, and all you got to do is just slap the shit out of them with their lies, with the hand of truth. That's it. Nothing difficult, nothing hard to understand. Teach our children the truth about America and the world and how we got to where we are right now. It's all based on a matrix of lies and deceit. Fuck white folks, get your mind off of them. Just like I was playing my buddy in the off the wall game, and he was always winning. Another guy came along and said, Isaiah, what's your name, man? I said, Isaiah, what's the problem? Well, this motherfucker said, they always win. I can't beat them. Yeah, you can't just concentrate on pitching, doing you. Fuck what everybody else is talking about and doing, or what he talking. From that day on, I was winning. So we are from a winning perspective and ancestry and past. History has a way of repeating itself for a reason, baby. And that reason is to allow us to know that we are the sum total of what this universe is all about in human form. Blackness life cannot exist on this planet without blackness. The very essence of our DNA is the carbon molecule. When we are getting into a sexual relation with our woman and with our husband or wife, and we're inseminating with them with our sperm, all that is taking place in blackness. When we grow food, it is grown in the white soil, it grows in the black soil. So as far as I'm concerned, and what that brother was saying, our rise is their downfall. That is very easy to understand. Take your fucking mind off of white folks. I give no fucks about what they do, about what they say, because they have a mentality of a child. Do you understand what I'm telling you? They don't have the capacity to think. They don't. They don't. I don't give a fuck how racist they might think, or might speak, or might intelligent they are. They're not as intelligent as we are. You know what I mean? And I'll throw it back at you.
All right. Thank you, Brother Isaiah. Doc?
You know, it's like anything else. You got to grow your own. If you want, you know, with the raising of any child, you just have to figure out what's the outcome that you want. If you want Black nationalists, they have to be raised up on a Black nationalist diet. There's nothing, you know, too tricky about all that. You know, if you want Negropeans, allow them to go to white schools and to study, you know, the white classics, devoid of any Black classics, and allow them to sit at the foot of white folk who hate you. Simple equation. If you want Black-minded people, have them educated in a Black curriculum and amongst Black-minded teachers. And one of the things I'll say, Sister Cassie, I'm an independent Negro. Nobody tells me what to teach. Nobody. And many people are amazed. My students, they say this. They say they must not know what you're teaching in your class, because if they did, you'd be fired. And my response to them is, well, don't you be the Negro that runs and tell them then. Okay. So we have to have a Black intellectual diet above and beyond everything else. And I yield.
All right. Thank you, Doc. And I want to thank our panel, Brother Isaiah, Sister Cassie, and Doc, for coming. I want to thank our listeners, even though the stream got cut. For those who still stayed around with us, thank you. Thank you.
One more thing. Stay Black.
Exactly. Stay back. We will be back with you all tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. And we will be talking, since it is Dr. King's Day, we're going to be talking about the lessons of Dr. King, good and bad, and hopefully come up with a good, solid understanding of who the brother was or is. But we're also going to look at some other people that was around Dr. King, like Ella Baker. We're going to look at, what's that brother's name? What's that brother's name, Doc, who, the gay guy that they kicked off the team because he was gay?
Baird Rustin?
Yes, there you go. We're going to look at Beard Rustin as well, because these people were members of King's inner team. Am I correct, Doc? They were members of his inner team, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the greatest historical fallacies surrounding Dr. King is that Mahatma Gandhi taught him about nonviolent civil disobedience. It was Baird Rustin. Rustin taught King how to apply nonviolent civil disobedience against white folk in the South. Gandhi did nothing for that. Yeah, and King's team was dynamic. You know, you have Abernathy, you have all of these radical preachers who are coming out of that, a strong Black radical tradition. So looking forward to it, brother.
Most definitely. So we're going to be discussing them because, you know, we have to have a good understanding of who everybody was, what were the players, what were the ideology, what made them move left or right and do the things that need to be done. Because when you're looking at King, even though you're looking at an individual, but behind that individual is so many different people that's pushing him to be who and what he was. So we will be back with you all tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. All right. And so as we always say, you kill the nigga in you, and I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black first, today, tomorrow, and forever. Love you, family. Peace and blessings.
Stay Black.
Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.
You better get the message.
and get it straight.
You're gonna need some bridge work. It's simple as that.
Because we're living in judgment. We're living in implementation.